This afternoon from Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota, it's Red Sox spring training baseball with the Sox set to take on division rival Baltimore. Both teams using plenty of big league starters on a crystal clear day here in Florida. Thanks so much for joining us. Certainly wishing you were here, everybody. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner, Steve Lyons. Garen Austin will be joining us in just a couple of moments. Yeah, a lot of the starters in the lineup today for the Red Sox of Alex Cora. Blake Swihart is trying to make the ball club, trying to get on that roster, and he's a guy who's on fire right now.
Yeah, you know, there are certain players that you just hope the best for as soon as you meet him. Blake Swihart has been that guy since he put a Red Sox uniform on. He's had some rough times with injuries and position changes and trying to learn positions. This season, in spring training, he's been amazing, and he has bounced around. He's played different positions. He's been at first base. They've given him an infielder's glove. Of course, he wants to catch. He's done that. Today's the DH. He's hitting .389. He's crushing the ball. If there's a way to play your way onto the team, he's doing that right now.
Yep, a guy who is out of options but has a lot of skills and a terrific athlete. Guy can really run the bases as well. He is in the lineup today. Red Sox and the Orioles, exhibition baseball right in front of a rare off day in the Grapefruit League coming up tomorrow.
Every stitch.
Not a cloud in the sky today here in Sarasota. Just a little more than an hour's drive from Fort Myers. And spring training home of the Baltimore Orioles. This will be the second spring game between the two. Red Sox took the first one 7-1. And the Red Sox will see the same right-hander they saw over in Fort Myers. Gabriel Inoa will be on the hill. Time for us to send it downstairs to find out what Garen Austin is working on today. Hey, Garen.
Hey, Obi, well, I'll tell you who Jalen Beeks played college ball with. Also, David Ortiz was back at JetBlue Park. You can hear what he had to say about his former teammate and new manager, Alex Cora. Plus, why this year's camp feels different for Blake Swihart. And I'll have an update on Drew Pomerantz. Guys?
All right, Garen, look forward to that. Thank you very much. And give you a look at the starting lineup today for the Red Sox. As mentioned, a lot of regulars in there. It'll be Mookie Betts to lead things off in right field. Andrew Benintendi in left with Rafael Devers at third. Jackie Bradley is the center field and the cleanup man. The DH, Blake Swihart. Christian Vasquez doing the catching, hitting sixth. It'll be Sam Travis at first base. Ivan DeJesus Jr. is the shortstop, batting 8th. And Devin Marrero at second base and hitting 9th against Inoa, who was recalled 3 times last year for the Orioles, who's back and forth often between the minors and the big leagues. Wound up going 2 and 3. ERA of 4.15, both starting and out of the bullpen for Buck Showalter.
Defensively for your Baltimore Orioles out there, Mancini, the big surprise from last season, playing left field. You know, Adam Jones in center, Rickards in right, and in the infield, Beckham, Machado, Scope, and Trumbo. Previously mentioned Inoa pitching to Caleb Joseph, who may just end up being their #1 catcher this year.
Now Mookie to lead things off, 264 with 24 home runs last season, drove in 102 runs. He's playing back-to-back games. You're seeing a little bit more of that as we move into this phase of spring training, and tomorrow is an off day. So Betts right back in, and the first pitch of the day is ball 1. We're underway.
Inoa is kind of a throwback 1980s pitcher. Classic sinker slider, but that's all he's got. As you mentioned, he was up and down a bunch of times last year, and they say he really needs to come up with a changeup or a third pitch to be an effective major league pitcher at all times.
Well, that first spring hit has been elusive for Mookie. He's over 12 so far. The hot bats right now are being swung by Benintendi and Swihart. Sam Travis. And Blake in the lineup today, as is Benintendi. And a 2-2. And a wave and a miss, down he goes. So Mookie fans. And 1 man gone.
We've seen a little bit more of this out of Mookie Betts here in spring training. A lot more strikeouts than they're used to seeing out of him. Pretty tough pitch right there. Nasty breaking ball. He couldn't, out in front of it, couldn't get it. What, he went a crazy number of at-bats last year without striking out. It was like 129 or something
129
like that.
plate appearances, yeah. Benintendi, 6 out of 11 so far for the spring, so he's locked in pretty good. I'll tell you what, spring training, you know, the ballparks are very cozy, and that means when you get a leather lung beer vendor like the guy who feels like he's in the booth with us right now, screaming about ice cold beer, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it resonates, doesn't it?
Well, he's mad that they're not selling as much this spring because it's been so hot. More people are buying water than beer. Not today, though. It's a beautiful day. It's not too hot. You're going to get the beer sales will be just fine today. You can quiet down.
Pipe down a little bit. Right through that one, as that one got by Benintendi for strike 3. So Inoa fans, the first 2 men. Over 2 innings when he faced the Red Sox at JetBlue, he had 4 Ks.
Now, there's nothing special about this one. This is just one that stays up in the zone. Benny swings right underneath it. It was meant to be a sinker. Didn't really sink that much.
So it'll be Rafael Devers, 284, 10 homers, 30 runs batted in 58 games for the Red Sox last season. Sox coming in 7-3 for the spring in the Grapefruit League. They are second behind the Yankees. The Yankees are 8-1 after beating the Sox at JetBlue yesterday. That one tagged to the alley. That'll be a gap shot down on the grass. The track up against the fence. Devers to second base, and Cruz is in with a double with 2 down.
I just love the quickness of Rafael Devers' hands. You see the replay, a little box in box, how quick his hands are through the hitting zone. Generates that power. It's almost like a, he's hitting left-handed there. It's like a Tiger Woods swing where the ball, where his hands stay in one position for the longest time, and then the next picture he's already through the baseball, and that ball's hammered into the wall.
Jackie Bradley next. Jackie coming off 17 home runs last season, looking to pick up an RBI here. Get the Red Sox on the board. Cubs, by the way, have the lead if you care about standings in spring training in the Cactus League with their 6-1. You mind going down and talking to that guy?
I'm going to talk to him from right here.
I mean, ask him to move to another section, maybe of another ballpark.
Standing right below us, saying cold beer, cold beer, cold beer. And the weird thing, he's wearing a shirt that says cold beer. I mean, we know.
I wish he were just saying it. He is screaming at the top of his lungs. Yeah. Cross for a called strike. Everyone's got to make a living. I don't begrudge that, but can you do it a little quieter?
He's starting to move around. He was standing right below us the whole time. Now he's going to go move around and sell his cold beer.
That'll miss inside. Blake Swihart on deck. That's our man right there. Yep, can't miss him.
Sweet lid.
It's some lid. What is that thing on his head?
I have no idea.
That'll be ball 4. So Jackie Bradley is aboard. Red Sox trying to build something with two down.
You know, he's starting to make me really miss the guy from West Palm when we did the game over there. That's just simply said, dilly dilly.
Yeah,
that was it. Everyone knew what he had.
Can we send someone down just to buy a couple of brewskis and maybe that'll do it?
Maybe
make him happy.
Maybe he'll run out.
2 on, 2 out. Blake Swihart. Who feels terrific, and he certainly did the other day with another RBI in Jupiter, and he is 7 out of 18. He has been arguably the hottest Red Sox hitter in this camp, and that one tagged. That's into the gap. Here comes 1 run. Devers is in to score. Jackie Bradley's going to be waved in. He's rounding third. It's another double for Swihart, and the Red Sox lead it 2-0. And another one he just ripped.
You know, when camp first opened and he was hot, everyone was saying, well, you know, it's early, it's a long way to go, and there is still a long way to go, but the kid is playing his way onto a major league team somewhere. Hey, just stays right down over that ball. He's got a picture perfect pretty swing. The Red Sox organization has known that forever. See his head down on the ball right at the point of contact. Good speed, cruises into second base, driving in runs all over the place. Leads the team in RBIs now.
Now Vasquez trying to keep it rolling. Christian 295 homers, 32 RBIs, a really nice offensive year in 2017. Sox jump out in front 2-0. A double, a walk, another double. In for a strike.
It's always funny when you have an inning like this and you start talking about at-bats. Maybe what's the most important at-bat in this sequence. Clearly it's the double by Swihart, but that big at-bat for me, the one that was really important, was the walk to Bradley.
Sure. 8 RBIs now for Blake Swihart, as you mentioned, leading the ball club here in the spring.
Here we go, a little box-in-box replay for you. You see the swing, you see the rest of the playing field. Kind of a nice look. Those guys can chase that ball down for a long time. Swihart ends up at second.
1-2 off the pitcher. That'll roll towards Scope at second base, and he'll bobble it a bit. Holding at third, Swihart. What'll be a base hit, I would assume, for Christian Vasquez, and the Red Sox still hitting. Runners at first and third. You know, had a chance to make the play, could not grip it.
So did his middle infielders. We see it all the time. It's just impossible to ask your pitcher not to try to catch a ball when it comes back to you. You're an athlete, you're reacting, you're trying to do it, but that ball bounces nicely up the middle to one of those middle infielders, and they throw Vasquez out, and they're out of the inning if he just lets it go.
So 4 Red Sox in a row have reached base, and that'll bring up Sam Travis. And he, like Swihart, really starting to come up with multiple hit games on a regular basis. He belted 2 home runs on Friday at Jupiter. Sam of the Paw Sox last year, 270 with 6 home runs. And becomes the 7th man to hit in the inning. This after Enoa had gotten the first 2 men on strikeouts very quickly.
Yeah. Sam Travis did have the early lead in RBIs. He's got 7. Swihart just passed him with 8 now. And talking about 2 guys really having a great spring that aren't technically supposed to be making this ball club.
So it's Swihart over at third. Vasquez on at first. And 2 down. Got jammed there. Red Sox today starting the left-hander Jalen Beeks, 24-year-old out of Arkansas. And the Sox have given him an immediate cushion. Goes to the other side, and Scope will flip on to get him and retire the side. But the Red Sox strike early and grab 2 as Swihart continues to swing it. Red Sox leading the Orioles here in Sarasota 2-0. Let's give you a look at the Orioles starting lineup. A lot of names you know. Tim Beckham, who came over from Tampa Bay last year. He's at third base. Scope hit 32 home runs last year. Then it's Manny Machado. They got him at shortstop. Adam Jones in center. Trey Mancini at left. Mark Trumbo at first base. Danny Valencia, the designated hitter. Joey Rickard at right field. And Caleb Joseph is catching and batting ninth. Facing the left-hander Beeks, he's 0-1 with an ERA of 3 so far. And was the Red Sox minor league pitcher of the year last year, putting up those numbers between AA and AAA.
It's pretty nice to be named the minor league pitcher of the year. There's a bunch of those guys, you know.
And Beckham leads it. Beckham acquired in season last year from Tampa Bay. Came to the Orioles and really played well. Hit the ball exceptionally well and showed power.
Great month of August.
Wound up hitting .306 with 10 home runs in 50 games. So he kind of fit right in with the grip and rip Orioles, who hit a ton of home runs.
Kind of got run out of town in Tampa Bay. Had some attitude issues, lack of hustle a few times. They sent him down 2 years ago for a good month and a half at the end of the year, just a kind of little slap on the wrist for not hustling.
But a better fit in Baltimore, it would appear. And he did hit a lot better in an Oriole uniform. That'll make you a lot of friends.
Doesn't everybody?
Yes.
Great park to hit in. Goodness. If you need to, guys have done it. You want to revive your career? Go to Baltimore for a season.
It's a great park, period, as you know.
Nelson Cruz knows a little bit about that.
Sure. 2-2 from Beeks.
Defensively for the Red Sox, you know them, you love them. The best outfield in all of baseball. Benintendi, Bradley, and Betts. Around the infield, Devers at third, De Jesus Jr. at shortstop, Marrero and Travis, and then Jalen Beeks throwing to Vasquez.
Popped into center field, and Jackie Bradley there to put it away. One man gone. Let's get out to Garrett.
Well, thanks, OB. Well, Jalen Beeks and Andrew Benintendi were teammates at Arkansas, and Beeks said that they've always been close. He said they talk baseball at the field, but away from the field, they're just really good friends. He said Benintendi has always been a great player, a great teammate, and it's really nice already knowing someone in the clubhouse. He said camp feels very different this year. There are a lot more guys, but it's a good uncomfortable. He said he's really enjoying getting to know the guys, and he's moving up in his career, so he's excited. Now, guys, he's also been working with Pedro Martinez. He said he gave him a few pointers after a bullpen, and he said when you've got a Hall of Famer giving you advice, you listen.
Beeks 24 years old. And it was a good pitcher at Arkansas. Went 12-6 there over 2 years. ERA just over 2 to draw the attention of the scouts. Facing a tough customer here in Jonathan Schoop. 293 last season with 32 home runs. Drove in 105. And has become a premier second baseman.
Great season. You could smell it coming out of him. Got his feet wet for a couple seasons, then blew up. Talking about Beeks, you got to figure that in his junior year of high school, when he struck out 21 in a game, that probably got the college recruiters sniffing around a little bit.
Absolutely.
He's like, who's that Roger Clemens guy?
Yeah, regardless of the level, 21. Little League, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Machado on deck. The 3-1 to Schoop. Went for the downs and didn't get it.
If you're kind of looking at your lineup card and wondering why Tim Becken was playing third base and Machado's playing short, that's the deal this year. Machado is your shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles. By his request, he asked the organization. He said he wanted to go back to playing short.
And in there, and he got him looking. So he sits down Schoop. Got him admiring the pitch, and they're 2 away.
It's not a nice feeling when you're in the batter's box and you don't swing at a pitch, and before the umpire calls it a strike, you're already walking back to the dugout because you know it was a strike.
And here comes Machado. 259, 33 home runs. He drove in 95 in 2017.
That's kind of a risky move, don't you think? Putting him back at short. He's a little bit older now. It's going to wear and tear on his legs. He's going to be one of the premier free agents coming out. I don't know if I want my best player having the wear and tear of having to play shortstop.
I know you've got to play Beckham. Given what he did last year, he's earned himself a starting position. But it's a unique situation with Machado, who had become such a great defensive third baseman. And that was a signature position for him. And now to move back to shortstop, we started out. Yeah, it does feel a little bit like a roll of the dice to some degree, the 2-1.
And correct me if I'm wrong, he is a free agent at the end of this year, isn't he?
Believe he is, yeah.
Yeah. It was like the whole Machado Bryce Harper thing. You know, they're the 2 big $400 million guys maybe coming out. Risky move on his part because it was his request to go back and play short.
Well, they'll take ball 4 as it trickles past Vasquez, so Machado will be on in front of Adam Jones. Red Sox leading it 2-0. We're talking about ballparks. We're talking about Camden Yards. And it remains one of the great jewels in the game. In a recent study conducted by USA Today, this ballpark, Ed Smith Stadium, was named the top venue among Major League Baseball spring training sites in Florida and Arizona.
Did you read that in their Baltimore notes today?
I did.
Does it mention that simple fact like 14 times in the Baltimore notes today?
Counted about 14. Yeah. Very proud of that fact.
That's all they talked about. 6 different articles about the best venue. I played 1 year here in spring training, Ed Smith, with the Chicago White Sox, but nothing was around it. It was just this stadium It wasn't very nice. There was no minor league complex out behind center field like there is now. Dumped a lot of money into this place for renovations.
Yeah, and I think it looks like it. As Adam Jones bats with a runner at first base and takes a strike.
It is pretty. There's no question about it. It's a nice surroundings and everything, but this is no Fenway South.
The study analyzed the comments of 36,000 online reviews about the facility itself, food and drinks, how vendors work the stands as well, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. Guess that didn't annoy anybody but you.
No, I guarantee I'm not the only one.
And our lunch today was top notch. Out of the press dining.
I don't think anybody cares. I mean, you talk about stuff nobody cares about. The caliber of the press lunch.
Well, I do every day.
You do, but no one else cares.
I think that went into the survey. That's how they got to be. One of the reasons why they got to be the best venue.
Top-notch lasagna in the press lounge today.
Yeah, a little mozzarella and tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Nice salad to go with it.
Yeah,
meatballs. Meatballs if you wanted to add to your meat lasagna.
Meatballs were pretty good. Yeah. And we've already spent a lot more time on that topic than we should have. 3-1 pitch hammered to short. And off the glove of Devers, he slowed it down, rolls into left field. Machado will be held at second base. A base hit for Jones. And so the Orioles are trying to do what the Red Sox did in their half of the first inning, build something with 2 down.
Nice reaction by Beeks, the pitcher here, to get over and cover third base. There was nobody there. Got Devers going for it. Marrero going for it. Now the ball kicks away. No third baseman. Beeks got over there and covered it.
Here's Trey Mancini. Really exploded last year for 24 home runs, hitting .293 for the Orioles. He's in left field. Runners at first and second. So Beeks with a walk and an infield hit and fires in a strike.
I don't think Mancini really surprised anybody in the organization by what he did last year. He's always been able to hit, but they didn't have a position for him. Really kind of forced Buck's hand last year by crushing the ball in spring training. They threw him in the outfield. He'd never played the outfield before. There's a first baseman by trade, and he just hit everything in sight. And they said, we got to go with this guy. He's pretty good.
Like they needed more home runs.
Yeah.
They hit 232, 5th in the American League. Inside, Vasquez thought about it. Now the throw down to second base, and the tag won't get him.
Throw it. Christian, you had it on the first one. You had it on the first one.
And Machado can be very daring on the bases.
You know it too.
And testing Vasquez there, Christian came up and gunned finally.
Now, Vasquez hesitated a little bit. At first, there's nobody at second base to throw the ball to. By the time someone got in there to help him out a little bit, it was a little too late. Now, that's not really Marrero's fault. You won't think that he's supposed to hustle back into second base because the guy got too big of a lead.
1-2, and a little flare popped on the infield, and Marrero at second base will retire the side. So Beeks holds and strands 2 in the first inning.
Are you the type who buys a truck for
Brought to you by Ace Ticket. It's more than a ticket. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. What a day today. Not a cloud in the sky.
That's how we got here.
It took a little while, but it was the scenic route, and we really enjoyed it.
A little dip.
That's why you were wearing your shorts today. Orioles have a 2-0 lead. Red Sox have a 2-0 lead on the Orioles here as we go to the second inning. DeJesus to lead things off. 345 with 7 home runs at Colorado Springs last year. And he's been swinging the bat pretty well. He's 5 out of 17.
His career got derailed by injuries a couple seasons in a row. He was about to make a Dodger club about 10 years ago and had a horrific leg injury, and then came back the next season and got hurt again, and just has kind of stalled since then.
That guy's been around a little bit. Here's the 1-1. Hammered and fair ball, knocked down by Beckham. Now he'll throw, and not in time. DeJesus on again with a base hit. Beckham with a sprawling effort, but could not get the out.
That ball took a funny hop on him right in the middle of his dive. You'll see when he's diving for the ball, it kind of takes a big bat hop. He's got to readjust and try to reach up and catch the ball while he's diving. Probably an ill-advised throw after he knocked it down, but just a tough play.
Brings up Devin Marrero starting at second today. Now, Devin will be the first one to tell you he's not noted for power. Did hit 4 home runs for the Red Sox last season, but he had a night of nights for himself back on May 30th in Chicago when he hit 2 home runs in one game. He went 2 for 5 in that game and drove in 5 runs with the 2 blasts. And it just kind of came out of nowhere, you know, for him to hit 2.
Oops.
Poor throw, and Trumbo knocked that one down, deflects away, Scope to scoop it.
Kick saving a beauty over there. Well, it seemed like Marrero, you know, he's never been noted obviously as a great offensive player, can pick it with anybody, but his success last year really came against left-handed pitching, and that's where his asset is, facing a righty today.
And with Dustin Pedroia down with the knee injury, rehabbing from that. Runner goes, and that one's socked into left center field. That'll drop down and keep on rolling. Jones has to chase it. That's going to get by him all the way to the fence and bring in a run. DeJesus rounding third and in to score. That one snuck by Jones. And the Red Sox now lead it 3-0.
Quick turf here at Ed Smith Stadium, the most beautiful stadium in all of spring training baseball. And that ball just scooted right by him. Maybe misjudged it a little bit how quickly that ball was going to get out there. The next thing you know, he's chasing it all the way to the wall. The Red Sox are hitting some balls in the gaps today. It's good.
Already 5 Red Sox hits, and 3 of them are doubles. Back to the top of the order. Mookie Betts is due for one. Mookie 0 for 1 today, 0 for 13 so far for the spring. Benintendi on deck. Don't see many like that past Jones, as good as he is out there. And Mookie lays off the off-speed pitch. Count 2-0.
It's funny when we talk about how brilliant the center fielders are in the American League East. Jones's name really evades the conversation, never really gets in it, but he's no slouch. Kiermaier, Bradley, Blar. And your Gold Glove winner in center field last year was
Byron Buxton of Minnesota. You can win some bets on that. And he deserved it too. That's in there for a strike. He had a tremendous defensive year.
And they say he's basically doing nothing but getting better too. Offensively, he's still got a ways to go, but he did have decent numbers. He just still strikes out a little bit too much, but you know, the game's changing. Guys don't worry about that as much as they did.
3-2 on Mookie.
You know how all the talk about launch angle and guys trying to hit the ball in the air, and we get it. Hit the ball in the air, it goes out of the park. Home runs have never been higher. But for a guy like Buxton, who runs so well, I'm not sure that I'd want that approach for him, because I want him on base. I don't need him striking out a third of his at-bats.
Payoff pitch, little trickler back to the hill. Inoa will get it to first base, and runner holding at second.
Let's go. Played him. Played him.
So one away. Benintendi will try and pick up this run. Well, I thought it was very interesting listening to comments of John Henry, the Red Sox principal owner, when he was discussing the Red Sox philosophy shifting and playing a little bit of catch up to today's offensive approach. You saw it last year. The Red Sox last in the American League with 168 home runs, a paltry number for a Red Sox team. I'd say with or without David Ortiz. And that one drilled high and deep to right field. Rickard back, turning around. She is gone. Right on cue on the topic of home runs. Andrew Benintendi. Benny Biceps. Although he's not going to use that nickname, or he'd prefer to go with something else this year. But if he keeps hitting rockets like that, so he's not curling anymore. He's not doing curls anymore. But boy, it paid off there, that work he's done in the lower body.
I'll tell you what, I hope Amy and Mitch in the truck show us a replay of this about 5 times. You will not see a prettier swing than what Benintendi has right now. How quick and strong his hands are.
Rafael, let's go.
Well, he's up to about 180 pounds after putting on some added size this year. You see he's broader, but he's done a lot of work in those legs.
Look at this. Look at the balance between that. Look at the reach from the plate, the coverage that he had, because that ball was a tad bit away from him.
That one tomahawk to right field. That's deep, headed for the wall, and that ball gets out of here. Devers going back to back. And that was out of here in 2 seconds. Red Sox showing off some of that power that everyone thinks will happen this year. Far greater than a season ago. And Rafael Devers jumps the fence.
Everybody loves the fact that Devers is pretty much an off-field hitter. He's great that way, but he is so quick inside too. His plate coverage for a young player is unbelievable. You throw the ball away from him, he'll rocket it off the left field wall. You try to sneak a cookie past him inside, it's almost like trying to do the same thing to Mookie Betts. He will hammer that pitch like he did right there.
Benintendi and Devers back to back here in the second inning. And the Red Sox blow it up to a 6-0 lead. Rafael hit 10 in 58 games last season. And this organization can't wait to see what he does with 500 or 600 at bats. Now Jackie Bradley looking to make it 3 in a row. Jackie walked and scored in the first inning.
I'd be willing to watch that many at bats out of him. Kid's 21 years old.
The Red Sox already with 7 hits. 3 doubles and 2 home runs against Inoa, who is much better at JetBlue than he is here at the best spring training ballpark in Florida,
all of
Arizona.
baseball.
Yeah. At least according to one survey. And wouldn't you bet that Jackie Bradley is going to up that figure of 17 home runs last season? A little topper to first base. And Trumbo has that for the second out. Swihart will be next. Well, tomorrow is the first off day here in the Grapefruit League. They pretty much padlock the gates at the spring training facilities. You're not getting in. So Steve, don't even try it. Although you're going over to Dunedin tomorrow?
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay. If I say, what are you going to Dunedin tomorrow for? There's nothing there for you.
The door's locked when you get there.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I found that to be amusing. That again, in the Baltimore Oriole notes.
Right.
Tomorrow's an off day for the Baltimore Orioles. Ed Smith Stadium, the nicest stadium in all of spring training baseball. The doors will be locked here.
Will be locked. Don't try to get in.
You will not show up here.
Already a good day for Blake Swihart with a 2-run double in the first inning. And the Red Sox have scored 4 times here in the second.
Well, we see some of the swings in this game. We saw the Swihart double, such a pretty swing left-handed. I believe that he's got a nicer swing left-handed than he does from the other side of the plate. You got Swihart's swing. You saw Devers hammer the ball. Benintendi's might have one of the prettiest swings in the game.
Takes a funny hop, but Trumbo there and gets to the bag in time to retire the side. But the Red Sox go back-to-back. Benintendi and Devers. Couple of crush jobs, and the Red Sox lead at 6-0 in the second.
Can you
untouchable value and tremendous choice.
Sox on top by half a dozen on the Orioles here. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket, where Red Sox fans go for tickets for all their favorite events, sports, concerts, theater, and more. Ace has the best selection at the lowest prices. Visit aceticket.com now or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Red Sox with a pair of home runs in the second. Benintendi, Devers back-to-back. Trumbo to lead things off in the second against Jalen Beeks. Took a bit of a step back in the power category last year. 234, 23 home runs for Trumbo.
Yeah, that's a big step back from what he had done before, huh?
But still excellent power, and you get that up and down the lineup. The Orioles' problem is going to be pitching. High pop to right. Mookie plenty of time. One away. Yeah, they're a ball club offensively built very well, of course, for Camden Yards, but you've also got to pitch there. That's the rub.
Yeah.
If you're going to win.
It's a lot of fun to hit there, but you got to get the other guys out too, and it hasn't happened for them. I mean, you talk about what Baltimore's done. I mean, since 2012, they've hit more home runs than any other team in baseball, and it's not really close.
Good breaking ball in for a strike on Valencia.
The third most wins in the American League, which has always been one of the toughest divisions since that period of time.
Hard hit and fair down the line past the diving Devers. That'll roll all the way to the warning track. It'll be 2 bases for Valencia. Hard hit double. That's their second hit today.
Rafael Devers down there at third base. Probably no real shot at catching that ball. But as he progresses as a major league player, that will always be the question mark of his ability to play the defense at third base. To go along with his offensive production last year, he did make a number of errors for a short period of time that he was up. Did he make 14 errors at third base maybe?
A lot of learning being done there as this popped up on the infield, and Travis will wait on it. That'll set down Rickard. You know, I think a classic case of he's 20 years old.
Yep.
A guy who still has much to learn about simple things like, you know, the proper angle to take on a hot shot to third base.
We had Mike Lowell in here working with him for a period of time, and he puts the time in. He's working at it.
Here's Caleb Joseph. 256, 8 home runs last year for the catcher. Beckham on deck. Very representative lineups here today for both the Sox and the Orioles. The expectations are not sky high for Baltimore this year. There's no question about it. Not seen to be in the same class with the Red Sox and the Yankees. Even though their offensive lineup remains very, very good. Don't forget about Chris Davis, who's not playing today. Runner on at second base, 2 down. Red Sox ahead by 6.
Just checking the record there for Devers. It was 14 errors in 58 games, and that's more than you need. As you and I were discussing in the car on the way up here, when I was 21 years old, the Red Sox were sending me to an instructional league after my first half season of A-ball. He's 21 years old and beginning his second season in the big leagues.
An instructional league, how many men per room?
We had 4 guys per efficiency apartment, and there were 3 of them locked together, so there was 12 of us. Guys sleeping in doorways, on the floor, on the couch.
Just to play baseball. Very glamorous.
It was indeed.
And what were you making every month?
My first year of A-ball, I made $600 a month. And I remember it vividly because after taxes, every 2 weeks, I made $222 every 2 weeks.
Well, and I don't mean to laugh, but
big cake.
It's not exactly.
And I sent money home.
Yeah.
I sent money home.
Did you really?
Yeah. Wow. I saved money. Unbelievable.
But a big signing bonus.
Oh, yeah. Now that has changed too. I was a first-round pick.
Yeah. What was your bonus though?
Take a crack at it.
I'm going to say 125.
That would be double.
Double it, yeah. Really?
I got $55,000.
And 50. I mean, it's 55. No one's going to sneeze at that.
No.
You know.
I mean, I didn't have to spend my bonus at McDonald's, but I got $55,000 to sign. The #1 pick in the country that year was Mike Moore, and he signed for $100,000. The year before that, it was Darryl Strawberry, and he got $250,000.
Right. Popped to center field. JBJ coming on to make the play. Lost the cap, but makes the catch, and 1 man is left. Red Sox still on top, 6-0 here at Sarasota.
Welcome back to Ed Smith Stadium. David Ortiz was back at JetBlue Park for the first time. He spent some time talking with JD Martinez, Dustin Pedroia, and Mookie Betts, and he talked to me about his former teammate and new Red Sox manager, Alex Cora.
Oh man, it's awesome. I've been talking to Alex. I mean, Alex is my boy. You know, me and Alex, we go way back, and we were teammates, we friends, you know, and then I even told Alex that whatever he need me, you know, for, I mean, just call me, because this is my organization. I mean, I will do whatever it takes that is in my hands to hold this ball club to win ball games.
Cora asked Ortiz to say a word to the group, and guys, he took this selfie. Now, I've been asking a lot of the players who their favorite player was growing up, and a lot of them said, of course, it was David Ortiz. Now, I'm curious to find out who the players were that you guys looked up to growing up.
I love the selfie, by the way. That's great stuff there, Garen. I think get everybody in there. I mean,
wide angle lens.
Wide angle.
Well, do we know that David is the best when it comes to selfies? So
yes, we know he has skills on that. You know, for me, and I saw him again yesterday, and it's always 5 thrills to encounter Carl Yastrzemski. And Yaz was chatting with the Rem Dog in the Red Sox dugout over at Fort Myers yesterday, and just to be able to say hello to Carl Yastrzemski, that was my guy growing up and will always be, for me, the greatest Red Sox player.
That is an excellent choice. I'll tell you, for me, very, very similar. My father grew up in Boston. I grew up in Oregon. My dad was easily my idol. He was always, even after I started playing professional baseball, one of the best coaches I ever had. But he was a huge Yaz fan. But because I was just younger and wanted to be a little bit different, I fell in love with Fred Lynn and patterned my game after his.
Yep.
Grew up my whole life being a center fielder.
Vasquez with a pop-up into right field. He had a base hit his first time up and is 1 for 2 today.
And that may have been by mistake, too. My father used to love to hit fly balls. He didn't like hitting ground balls. Used to love to hit fly balls. So I would catch fly ball after fly ball after fly ball, millions of them. And so I guess that's why I ended up in the outfield. So he was a huge Yaz guy, too.
My dad's idol was, of course, Ted Williams. And my dad got a chance to see him play at Fenway when he was a young man, and Ted was in his prime. And, you know, I remember the first book my dad ever gave me to read was Ted Williams' My Turn at Bat. And still have a copy at home. And it's a great read. To this day, it's a great read about his life and why he became the hitter and the person that he was.
Well, Ted was literally a master at everything he did.
Yes.
I mean, he was, you know, a renowned photographer.
Fisherman.
Fly fisherman.
Yep.
And his proudest moment, as he'll say, was being a naval aviator.
And John Glenn said he was the best natural fighter pilot he ever saw.
It's just John Glenn saying that about you. It's no big deal. Just, you know, his opinion doesn't really count, does it?
So many Ted stories. You think, you know, the more recent generations of Red Sox fans, it's probably, you know, for many of them, it certainly is David Ortiz.
Sure.
And will be for the rest of their lives.
Well, when you have a guy that makes that type of an impact for that many years, when you're a kid growing up and that's what you know, who would ever change that?
Sure. Travis 0 for 1. He's grounded to second. Red Sox on top 6-0 here. Hey, it's Academy Awards night.
Oh, I am into it.
You're really into it.
I love it.
You're into the Oscars.
Indeed.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
Hope we get home in time to watch it.
Oh, we will. If it was yesterday's game, I would have feared. Probably not. I think that game is still being played. Although we had a great deal of fun with the Foundation Day and the wonderful people involved with the Red Sox Foundation.
Health, education, and activity.
Now those are the focuses. Here's the 3-2. That one hit toward the gap. Another one into the alley. That's going to keep on sailing out there to the fence. Sam Travis to second base. He got off to a bit of a slow start. The initial games of spring training. That's not the case anymore.
You know, we're used to seeing him just rake in spring training. Obviously last year with some injuries and stuff, kind of a down year for him in AAA. That's good plate coverage there. Went down and dug that thing out. Watch how he goes down with his hands but not his body. He's not bending over to hit that pitch. That's why he's able to power it out there into the gap. After a slow start in this spring, he's coming on hard, isn't he?
1 for 2 in this one. 2 home runs Friday at Jupiter. Sox now at 8 hits. That includes 4 doubles and 2 home runs. So we're having a little bit of fun with, the polling on Ed Smith Stadium and, someone believing it's the best spring training home, and it's terrific. There's no question about it. But the Red Sox are really enjoying it here this afternoon.
Maybe they had lasagna for lunch too.
D. Jesus with a base hit, first time up, and scored a run. To right field in the air, Rickard. Travis will be held at second base, and they're 2 away. Marrero next. Let me give you just a little tip on the Oscars now, and we'll talk a little more later about this. But the movie that you really ought to bet the house on, you better bet the house on it tonight, because I think it's going to win a bunch of major awards.
Am I guessing?
Oh, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Huge tonight. Watch this.
I think they're nominated for 13.
Yes, but I mean, you've got a lot of interest in a lot of other films, and The Post was terrific. The Darkest Hour was terrific. The Shape of Water, I think, is going to walk away with a bunch of awards tonight.
This year, I'm a little ashamed of myself because I haven't seen a lot of the Oscar nominated films. I usually do. I did see The Shape of Water, and for my money, it would not be Best Picture.
Would not be the Best Picture.
No.
We're going to find out soon enough what you think.
But that's the thing. I'm not sure. I don't have a clear cut, even in my own mind, what I thought the best film was this
year. You just know The Shape of Water would not be.
Yeah, it was not my favorite. It didn't bite me like the best film should,
Well, nothing should bite you, Steve.
I actually went to the Oscars one time. That was a fun experience.
Yes.
I was not nominated.
Were you way back, like up in the upper balcony?
Yeah, you're way up there. Yeah. Still a great seat.
But you see a lot of big stars, right?
Oh,
you're rubbing elbows.
Walked the red carpet.
Tremendous. What were you wearing?
I was wearing a tuxedo, of course. It was.
Anybody cares.
It was. Donna Karan.
Steve Lyons is dressed by Donna Karan. Steve smashing as always. Was it a black tuxedo, or is it?
Well, Calvin Klein doesn't make a blue one.
Marrero down the line, and Rickard will make the catch in fair territory to retire the side. Another extra base hit for the Red Sox. They lead it here 6-0.
Every Toyota RAV4, even our lease
New England's filmmakers. Saturday, we take a look at student films from LaSalle College and Central Connecticut State. That's the next producer, presented in part by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. On the topic of films and Oscar night. And the Red Sox on top 6-0 as we take it to the last half of the third inning. It'll be the top of the order for the Orioles: Beckham, Scope, and Machado. Beckham flying to center first time up. And he will be their regular third baseman in 2018. Any doubt in your mind that the darkest hour, the performance by Gary Oldman, that is going to win the Academy Award for Best Actor?
Does he ever do a bad job? And he was unrecognizable.
Yeah, he was.
There was no way you'd know it was him if they didn't tell you it was him.
Sure. It was a lot like watching Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Just nailing that persona, that larger-than-life figure.
And of course, what was the film he was in? The Thread, the something where he was made the dresses. Phantom Thread.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah.
It might be the one time that he comes back from his movies every 2 years to make a movie and doesn't win the Oscar.
Yep.
And then he said he is going to retire after that film.
Saw that.
Goes away for 2 years, comes back, makes a movie, wins the Oscar, goes away, comes back, wins the Oscar. Pretty good life.
Is it Jimmy Kimmel who's the host?
Yes.
Well, that should be fun. Scope on deck.
I've been seeing the commercials where he says, "Give me the correct envelope, please."
Yeah, right. A fiasco last year.
Jeez.
And Beeks with a 2-2, and he got him to offer. Down he goes, strike three. His second K today, one away in the third for Baltimore.
He just got him to chase this one up and away and out of the strike zone. Tough pitch to hit if you're going to chase that one.
As mentioned, Beeks, the minor league pitcher of the year for the Red Sox last year, splitting time between Double-A and Triple-A. At Portland, at Double-A, made 9 starts. He went 5-1, a 2.19 ERA.
And had 155 strikeouts through the year too, which is a pretty good number.
And he drops it in for a strike.
Yeah, I wanted to cap off that conversation that we were having about favorite players and ask Garen, because I know Garen's been asking a lot of the players who their favorite player was. Garen, how many answers did you get?
Well, Steve, I've had a variety of answers, and some that are really fun that have stood out are some of the guys who their favorite athletes play a different sport. So, for example, Joe Kelly looked up to Tony Hawk growing up.
Really?
That sounds like a Joe Kelly.
Yes, apparently, and he also said that he really liked skateboarding when he was a kid.
Huh. Well, that makes sense.
That's funny. I mean, there's no reason that your favorite athlete or the guy that you look up to has to play the same sport you do, I guess.
And several of the guys really looked up to a lot of basketball players. For example, Jackie Bradley Jr.'s favorite athlete growing up was Kobe Bryant.
Well, that had to be a tough one for him to say out loud, because he is distantly related to Michael Jordan. But that's a generation thing. I get that.
Bradley is?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear a little more about that.
Yep. Should get him to talk about that on camera one day, and I think he would.
Are you sure that's not a Joe Kelly saying that he was related to Machine Gun Kelly?
Jordan's grandfather and Jackie's great-great-grandmother were siblings.
Wow. Keep it in the family.
How does that make Petey feel? Like 108?
Old.
No, there's a whole generation of kids who were going to say that to Dustin Pedroia, right? Who are now arriving on the scene. at the big league level or in the minor leagues. Of course.
And let's face it, a lot of these younger kids that are coming up, and you would think maybe some of the answer was David Ortiz, but most of the guys on the Red Sox or in the organization didn't grow up in the New England area, so might not have been their favorite player.
However, you know, with the success the organization has had and playing in World Series, you know, winning 3 World Championships, while a lot of these guys were beginning to become young ball players, they're very familiar with the Jason Varitek's, the David Ortiz's, and the Dustin Pedroia's, and a lot of the guys, the Mike Lowells, who are, you know, been in the camp. Derek Lowe, same thing. 3-1 poke foul.
Some guys are able to transcend time zones. Just because you grew up on the West Coast didn't mean you pretty sure you heard about David Ortiz.
Machado with a walk in the first inning. Again, as Steve mentioned, he's going to be their shortstop in 2018. No more third base. Certainly not on a regular basis.
It's just a peculiar move to me. I'm not sure why he'd want to move off his comfort zone on a season where he's going to be coming out as a free agent. I'm sure he can do it, but I would go out on a limb and say that he's a better third baseman than he's going to be a shortstop, because he's a fantastic third baseman.
Adam Jones on deck, runner at first base in Scope, who blooped in a base hit, and the 3-2 to Machado that sailed away. So he walks him for the second time. That'll put runners on at first and second, brings out Alex Cora. He'll go to the bullpen. So Beeks getting into the third inning and being given a lot of run support. And he is done for the afternoon, leaving behind first and second for the bullpen. We'll take a break and be back with more here from Sarasota and Ed Smith Stadium in just a moment.
New show. Need a new show to watch? Show me drama.
She's gone! The Red Sox walk it off!
Show me good guys versus bad guys.
Oh, down he goes.
Something for the family?
Exactly what everybody needs. Comfortable lead here early in the game for the Red Sox. Bottom of the third inning. Baltimore with a couple of base runners as the Sox are on top 6-0. Red Sox spring training games on Nesson, brought to you by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. And Matthew Kent will make an appearance now out of the pen. Left-hander out of Waco, Texas. He was at High A Salem last year. He made 28 starts and led the ball club with 164 innings. 12th round draft pick in 2015.
Well, that's a good sign for me. So many organizations really limit the number of innings that guys can pitch, and I'm of the school that the more you throw, the better off you're going to be. You know, guys can't throw 200 innings because no one lets them throw 200 innings, and then when they're finally asked to do it, they have trouble. So this guy threw a good number of innings in the minor leagues last year.
And through strikes, only 38 walks. First and second for Adam Jones. who singled his first time up, 1 for 1 today. Orioles with 3 hits, Sox have 8. So the young left-hander looking for a ground ball at a middle infielder. This might be the prettiest day all spring.
It is beautiful. Not a cloud.
And not hot. It's been pretty warm, but no humidity today. That one stung, and Devers can't get it down the line. That'll get the Orioles on the board. Scope is in to score. And Machado chugging into third. It'll be 2 bases for Jones. And a 6-1 game here at Sarasota.
Yeah, Jones a tough guy to face in this situation. Lefty on Jones. That ball scooting right past Devers and down the line. Got the ground ball. Didn't get it in a good spot.
Well, charge the run to Beeks. And Machado also belongs to him. He's now standing at third. Still only 1 out. Second and third for Baltimore. Mancini to climb in. 0 for 1. He's popped up to second. Red Sox are playing Travis, the first baseman, way off the line towards second, off into the hole.
Believe it or not, the Red Sox are playing halfway. The potential to cut the run off at the plate, even with a 6-1 lead. A lot of times in spring training, you play situations rather than playing the scoreboard. But Dave, I'll tell you, that's one of the scariest things. When I was playing first base, one of the scariest things to play the position is to be playing where Travis is right now and have a one-hop smash to the third baseman, Devers, and look how far you have to go to get over to first base. And Devers is going to come up throwing. So he'll throw the ball before you get there. And that was my fear, was I wasn't going to get there in time.
The chopper to third. He's going to come home with it. And safe at home plate. He got underneath the tag by Vasquez. And a home plate umpire, Will Little, said he got in there.
I believe that's the right call.
Yeah.
I believe it's the right call. You know, catchers still a couple years into the rules at home plate don't know what to do. In the old days, Vasquez would have buried this guy at home plate. Now he has to kind of get out of his way, goes for a little sweep tag, and ends up not tagging him at all.
So the run scores to make it 6-2.
Gosh, do I hate those rules. Oh, goodness. The catchers hate those rules. The catchers grew up their whole life knowing that part of the gig was you might get run over at home. And you can give it to the runner every once in a while, too. No way that run would score in any other situation if the rules were different.
Trumbo, the batter. Interesting, too, and as we take another look at the plate, originally they put 2 outs up there on that scoreboard. Just assuming.
Everyone in the house thought he was out. And, you know, the Red Sox made the play the right way. They were playing that halfway depth. They figured if the guy's going to try to score, we will throw him out. They did it. And everything was completed except the execution of the tag.
Roll foul.
And, you know, Dave, there's no real excuse for Vasquez to miss the tag, but it's confusing for those guys to know, can I block the plate? Can I block the plate? What am I supposed to do?
I get it.
They tell guys to sweep tag now, and that's kind of what he did, but he left the plate wide open and exposed for the runner to be able to score.
It's a good reminder for Christian Vasquez, too, on plays like that in the regular season. Or moving forward here even in spring training. You know, you've got to make sure you apply that tag. Chop toward the middle. Marrero going for the tag there, got the out. He held on to it long enough as another run scored for the Orioles. But another run in for Baltimore. Now 6-3 game.
Nice play right there. And a good play by Mancini to slide right there. It made it a tougher tag play, and it made it a lot harder for him to make the relay on to first base to try to get any kind of double play.
Lost the baseball in the exchange.
It's kind of funny how a few years ago they would have called him safe too. Remember when if you just dropped the ball, man, they're trying to change everything there for a little while.
They went back and forth on that rule about 3 different times. So now 2 down, a man at first, and 3 runs in. Been an ugly inning for the Red Sox. Valencia with a double his first time up.
It's a good reminder as well for the Red Sox, as we know, and you've been talking about all day long, is this team's never out of a game because of that offense. They can come right back on you. They're doing it right now.
Well, they remain a powerhouse offense, particularly when Chris Davis is in there for a strike. And in that sense, they will be a force to be reckoned with. But the rotation just isn't deep enough, and many believe just not good enough for the Orioles to really hang in there over a long, hot summer in the AL East. Certainly not with the competition in Boston and New York.
Seems like the last couple of seasons they get off to that great start. Everyone's like, is Baltimore for real? Invariably, the answer is no.
Orioles, by the way, are being particularly cautious with Chris Davis, an MRI on a tender elbow. They're going to take it slow with him. No structural damage there, and a nice play by Devers on a sinking line drive as he makes the pick at third base. Otherwise, that could have gone all the way to the fence. 3 runs in for the Orioles. 6-3 the score.
New show. Need a new show?
Well, the Orioles have come back and cut the Red Sox lead in half. 6-3, top of the 4th inning coming your way. And Tuesday, the Bruins will be hosting the Red Wings for the final time this season. The Bruins are trying to secure home ice advantage as the push for the playoff continues. Don't miss the action. Coverage starts at 6. Puck dropping at 7 on Nesson. Orioles going to make a pitching change. Andrew Faulkner coming out of their pen, and Mookie Betts about to get his 3rd at bat. And this is nice to see here in spring training for those of us who cover a lot of games in particular, and for fans who come to a lot of games. Now you're starting to see regulars like Mookie Betts get 3 at bats and possibly more. So the big leaguers on the 25-man, they're getting more time, more at bats, more innings.
As the spring moves on and gets deeper and closer to opening day, you always see the regulars play a lot more baseball. Now, let's face it, bottom line is once the bell rings, you're going to be playing every day, so you've got to build up that stamina to get there.
Mookie today is 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. Benintendi on deck. And ball 4. He got nothing to swing at there. So Mookie is on.
And I think that's one of the aspects in spring training that a lot of people don't really think about for a guy like Mookie Betts. You know, fine, hey, he might only need 30 at-bats to get ready for the season, but he needs to physically get ready for the season as well, because when the season starts, he's going to be playing every day. So he's got to ramp that up as well.
Benintendi is homered today. 2-run shot in the second inning. Thinking the same thing right there. And it's 0-1. He and Rafael Devers went back-to-back in the second. Devers just made a really fine play over there, third.
Yes, he did.
On a wicked line drive.
Third time's a charm. They hit him about 3 of those down there really hard, getting past him. Finally caught that third one. Where's the home run right there by Benintendi? You saw him reach out a little bit and still hammer that to right. You know, Dave, with all the talk about launch angle and the new way to hit and swing with an uppercut, you told me that Ted Williams' book, your favorite book, was called what?
My Turn at Bat.
Yep. Didn't he also write The Science of Hitting?
Yes.
Read that book and try to act like this new launch angle stuff is a new philosophy. Yeah. That was Ted's philosophy his whole life. Swing with a slight uppercut.
Popped up in a foul ground. No catch will be made by Beckham.
Get the ball in the air. And this whole newfangled way to play baseball, too, with the shift. I think everybody remembers they used to shift on Ted Williams, too. He had the greatest line. They can never play high enough.
How true with him. One, two. Another good take by Benintendi, all even on Andrew. Ted's #1 rule, get a good pitch to hit.
It's a good #1 rule.
Get a good pitch to hit. Benintendi swings through that one. Down he goes, and 1 man away for the Red Sox here in the 4th.
A lot of hitters have the philosophy that you're really only going to get 1 decent pitch to hit in that at bat. You better hit it. There's Rafael Devers swinging the home run that he hit, or that's his double.
It's going to get out of here.
There's the homer. That thing got out of there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, quickly over that right field fence. So he's 2 for 2 today with a pair of extra base hits. He has scored twice. Jackie Bradley, the on-deck hitter. Red Sox leading 6-3 in the 4th. I really do think, Steve, what you're going to see is a bit of a change in Red Sox hitting philosophy this year, as far as swinging earlier in the count, not taking as many pitches, not trying to wear guys down necessarily. If you can, yeah, you'll factor that in. But the Red Sox want to do damage early in the count if they can. As you said, getting that pitch to hit, if it's the first pitch, if the count is 1-1, 1-0.
Go to hacking.
Go to hacking if you can. If you get some to drive, and drive it. And drive it in the air. Last year's team did not do that very much.
In fact, less than any other team in the American League, if you're talking home runs.
And, you're talking about home runs, but you're also talking about offense, period.
Hitting balls in the gaps, off the walls, yep. Run. I'd love to see Rafael Devers right here just rifle one to left field.
Runner taken off, and a high fly to left center field. It'll be Mancini on the move to the alley. Mookie had been running. He'll go back to first base. 2 gone for JBJ. I think the Red Sox as an organization realized how successful they were in wearing down pitchers, working long counts, getting starters out of the game back in the days when that mattered a lot more. And it was very effective. And the Red Sox as an organization don't believe that quite the way they used to.
Well, it's a shift in the game and the way it's played. Everyone loves to have great starting pitching, but there's a huge emphasis now on having guys come out of the bullpen and be able to get you out, and more guys out of the bullpen, and they're all throwing 100. And so if you get my starter on the 5th, no big deal. You got 4 guys out here that are going to get you out for the next 3 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings, whatever it takes.
And examining the effectiveness of your starter that second and third time through the batting order. If you go from allowing a .250 batting average that second time and it's .310 the third time around, he needs to be out of there. And ball clubs are not going to wait to yank their starters as they used to.
I think you have to have a good mix of that, because certainly if your starter's out of the game every day by the 5th, those guys down in the bullpen will get overworked. They'll have to be throwing a lot more than anticipated. All of a sudden their 100-mile-an-hour fastballs are going to be 96, 94. They'll be vulnerable. This team included right here with the Orioles. Their starters couldn't finish anything. They couldn't keep it going, so their bullpen was blown up.
Too high on JBJ, and the count goes to 2-1. He's walked and grounded at first today. Sox leading 6-3. Buck Showalter back again at the helm for the Orioles. He's been the manager of the year in the American League 3 times. Outstanding tactician. 2-2. But he can't pitch. And Roger McDowell used to. He can't anymore either. And that's going to be a big problem for the Orioles. Their lack of outstanding pitching and lack of a great closer right now because of the Britton injury. Here's the 2-2. There goes Mookie, and it's popped a mile in the air, foul off third. And Beckham with time to make the catch and retire the side. No runs, a walk, 1 left. Still 6-3 Red Sox.
Help choose the next generation.
Well, the Orioles coming up. Red Sox leading by 3. Nesson and Boston 25 at partner the next 3 Thursdays for Red Sox spring training games, all at 1 p.m. Inside the Boston market, the games will be exclusively on Boston 25. Outside, it'll be on Nesson. This Thursday at 1, Red Sox will host division rival the Tampa Bay Rays at JetBlue. Boston TV market includes the Worcester area and all of southern New Hampshire. Going to get another look at Chandler Shepard, who the Red Sox have started a couple of times in spring training games that we've done, and he's looked pretty darn sharp. Right-hander.
6'1", 210 pounds. Last year he had an ERA of just over 4. A career high 68 strikeouts and just 18 walks. Everything out of the bullpen for Pawtucket last year.
First man in, Joey Rickard. He's 0 for 1. One of the best films all year was certainly The Post. Story of the Washington Post with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep, and I mean, you can't go wrong with
either of them.
And Steven Spielberg. I mean, mega stars everywhere on that one, and a terrific film about the publishing of the Pentagon Papers. And if you have any interest at all in the newspaper business, I mean, that takes you really inside. Tom Hanks as
that's the problem.
Ben Bradley.
There's a dwindling interest in the newspaper business.
Now, you and I grew up with it. Newspapers really mattering in your lives.
Had to touch it. Had to open it up. Fold it the correct way. If there was someone sitting next to you, you had to make sure you kept it out of their way.
Yeah.
Nobody has to worry about that anymore.
That's a great film. Wind blowing out to right today. On a cloudless day here in Florida. Temperatures into the 70s. The 2-2. To right field on the move. Mookie Betts backing up shy of the track. He's got it.
Hit it to the wrong guy.
Two-time Gold Glover. So here are your sports best picture winners. $1 Million Baby, of course, the boxing film in 05. Chariots of Fire was amazing in 1982. And Rocky.
Adrian.
Stallone wrote it, you know.
All of them.
I think he's going to take the blame for all of them. Another sprawling attempt by Devers, but that one off the glove, rolling into the outfield. Heading on into second is Caleb Joseph. The throw is a bit too late. Hey, Devers is getting all the action down there at third.
It's the 4th time he's had to dive for a ball. He's 1 for 4 and coming up with them.
Well, hit in his direction anyway. I wouldn't say they've been hit right at him.
No, I mean, he's had to go and dive for the balls. That's the 4th time he's had to do it.
So Joseph with a double. And Tim Beckham up again. He's 0 for 2, a fly to center and a strikeout. Potential play on, but no throw by Shepard.
Were you a $1 Million Baby fan?
Sure.
Great film.
Hilary Swank was in that. Clint Eastwood, of course.
Sad.
Yeah, very, very sad film. Chariots of Fire, when that came out in 1982, I think very few people were aware of that, the backstory of that Olympics. Focusing on the Olympic team from the UK. A couple of great stories. Here's the 0-1. That's when we all learned how to pronounce Vangelis. Remember they did the music for that? Yeah. Soundtrack was excellent.
The guys running down the beach.
Yeah. Slow motion. Yeah.
How about Amy and Mitch in the truck putting together some producing? You talk about Emmy award-winning movies and they throw them right on the screen.
Well, Oscar-winning movies, yeah. 0-2 hammered through the hole. That'll squeak through for a base hit. Joseph Rounding, he will score. A bit of a bobble out there by Mookie in any event. I don't think he had a play at home plate. And that'll cut the lead to 6-4. So the Red Sox, once comfortable lead, not so comfy anymore.
Well, this is a ball that kind of beats the shift, but it wasn't like he was trying to do that. It was just a half swing emergency hack that found a hole. They all worked. Drove in a run doing it.
Well, the Orioles certainly can score runs. They have a lot of A-listers in their lineup today, including this man Scope, who is 1 for 2 with a base hit and a run. Three Billboards, another film that deserves a lot of spotlight on it. Tough film to watch, but beautifully acted and directed. But I'm telling you, The Shape of Water is the one to watch tonight come award time.
Michael Shannon,
who's a great actor. He's scary in this.
Well, he's scary in everything he does, because he's a scary looking guy. You don't pick him for a leading man type.
Yeah.
He was in Boardwalk Empire. He's in another film this year too. It was a war film. I can't remember which one it was. But he does an excellent job.
Yeah. First thing I remember seeing him in was Superman a few years ago. Yeah, he's scary in everything. Big cut by Scope, 2-1. Well, today you want to get it in the air to right field. The Red Sox certainly did that with Benintendi and Devers. Wind is occasionally gusting to right. Poke to right field on a soft line. That'll drop in for a base hit. Runners will be on at first and second. Here come the Orioles again. It's 3 hits in this inning. They scored 3 runs last inning.
That's a base hit all day long, but beating the shift to the right side again with that little soft liner into right.
So Shepard came on and started the inning. He got the first man on a fly to right, but then it's been double, single, single. And now Machado, always dangerous. He's walked twice. Right in the middle of the fireworks between these two clubs last year, that's for sure.
He didn't do a whole lot to try to cool it down either, did he?
No, he did not. No, he gave a couple of mini post-game press conferences that
they had to bleep out a lot of it.
A lot of it was bleeped.
I think the gist was that he's lost all respect for the Red Sox organization.
That's what he said at the time. Yeah. In for a strike, and that'll leave it a count 1-1. Oh, that of course was the play that started it all, the slide, spiking of Dustin Pedroia. And it was off to the races from there. The throw behind.
Didn't even hit him. Went behind him. Of course, the Red Sox got hit 6 times.
And he sculls that one down the line. That's going to go up against the fence. 1 run is in. They're going to wave in the second run. Here comes the throw to home plate on the skip, and he will not get him. He's in to score. Machado taking off for third now. And the Orioles have just tied the game. Manny Machado pulling a liner to the corner. And we are tied 6-6.
Well, you can say what you want about Machado. He can flat out play this game, and he can rake. I'll tell you what, the Red Sox did everything fundamentally correct on this play. They got the ball back in. Marrero made an excellent throw to the plate. 1 hopper. Vasquez this time decided to stick his nose in there. He was going to block the plate a little bit, but he forgot to catch the ball.
So whole new ball game. We're tied 6-6. Machado with a 2 RBI hit. He'll get a double, taking third on the throw. Another look at that play at home plate.
Beautiful relay throw right there from Marrero. One hopper. This is just to be an easy out. And you can see that Vasquez at this point was right there in front of the plate. He wasn't going to let someone slide by him again, but the ball popped out of his glove.
Well, he was in a legal position to make that play. As you said, just did not make the catch. Infield in now for Adam Jones, who singled and doubled, and now the Orioles can take the lead. Marrero with a very accurate throw, one hopper to the plate. And a 1-0. And that'll miss. As all Red Sox in the first 2 innings, building up a 6-0 lead. All Baltimore the last 2. Jones has been right in the thick of it with a 2-hit game. Mancini on deck.
Remember how odd it was for us to see a 6-1 lead early and the infield cutting off the run at the plate. They did that. The play wasn't made, but guess what? They're cutting off the run at the plate again now because they have to.
Infield drawn in for the Red Sox here. Hitters count for Adam Jones. And the 3-1. Was not cheated on the swing, but didn't get it. And now 3-2. Machado on at third. And Shepard will deal. No baseball for the Red Sox tomorrow. Nobody, in fact, will be playing. It's that rare off day in spring training. Schedule will resume on Tuesday at 1 o'clock against Tampa Bay at JetBlue. Bounding foul. They'll do it again on 3-2. Jones still with very good power. 26 home runs last season for Baltimore. And a 3-2 home. Very pesky at bat here for the center fielder.
Can be known for some of that. Jones wants to get the ball in the air. The Red Sox want him to put it on the ground.
Well struck. Betts on the move, racing for it, and not going to get it. That's going to be up against the warning track in the fence. Another run is in to score. Machado. He touches home plate, and the runs keep on coming for Baltimore. They've jumped into the lead now, 7-6. Adam Jones with a big day, his third hit.
That's just an impossible ball for Mookie Betts to catch. Number one, it's a long way for him to go, and the wind just keeps pushing it towards the foul line. He's never catching up with that ball. He knows it. Just wants to make sure he gets himself in a position to field the ball off the wall and get it back in.
Chasing in Machado, who had doubled in a pair, and now Jones with a double. And Baltimore comes storming back, and the Red Sox have to go to the bullpen again. So here in the bottom half of the fourth inning, Baltimore on top, 7-6.
Charlie Morris.
And somebody to put an end to this, because the Orioles have now scored 7 times over the last 2 innings to turn this game around. Red Sox giveaways return to Fenway in 2018, including player bobbleheads, gnomes, and a lot more. For tickets and information on the entire 2018 giveaway lineup, just visit redsox.com/promos. Matthew Gorst out of the bullpen, a right-hander inheriting a 1-out runner at second. Trey Mancini, the batter, 0 for 2. Gorst at A-ball last year in 36 appearances, pitched well, a 2.75 ERA. Facing a big league hitter here, however, with good power, 24 home runs last year for Mancini.
A lot of respect for Mancini on this ball club. When you talk about all the possibilities, you could say who's the best player on this team. Certainly people would point at Machado and maybe a few others. A lot of people say overall Mancini is one of the best they've got. And a lot of guys you could choose from.
Mark Trumbo on deck. And he threw 4 that were not in the strike zone, so that'll put runners at first and second. Let's go to Garen Austin.
Well, guys, Drew Pomerantz did not seem too concerned when he spoke to reporters yesterday. He was diagnosed with a flexor strain, and he is not throwing right now. He'll be reevaluated on Tuesday in Fort Myers. Now, there was no structural damage, and Cora does seem optimistic. Another reason to be optimistic, Dustin Pedroia has been hitting and taking ground balls, so that is great news as he continues to make progress. But, guys, Cora said today there is no update on the Kimbrel family. Everyone continues to send their prayers.
Garen, thank you very much. Craig, of course, leaving the ball club within the last several days to be back with his young daughter, his newborn, having his second heart surgery. 2 men on for big Mark Trumbo now. He has flied out and hit into a fielder's choice, but he's always dangerous. And a slicer foul, taking aim at right field.
Well, Garen, we gave our favorite players and on our movie picks. What were yours?
On movies?
And your favorite player?
Well, on movies, my favorite movie of the year was A Bad Mom's Christmas. Honestly, I didn't watch. I'm being honest here. I didn't actually watch any of the nominees. My favorite player growing up, you know, I grew up in Seattle in the 90s, so my favorite player for the Mariners, Randy Johnson, the big unit.
The big unit, not a bad choice.
No, get yourself a Hall of Famer there.
Yeah, I loved watching Randy pitch. That was a great era for the Mariners.
Not sure about Bad Mom's Christmas. I will admit that I did like the original Bad Moms. I thought Going to Christmas was taking it a step far. It was like the sequels that we talked about that never seemed to work out that well.
And many of them do not. The second Rocky film, we mentioned Rocky earlier, the second Rocky film was excellent.
Was the other 6 he did weren't so good.
After that, Godfather, yeah. the second Godfather, Godfather 2 was also a Best Picture, but after that, I think it was awful. Godfather 3 I thought was terrible. Very unfortunate. 1-2 fouled back. A lot of good talent on screen, but it was a terrible film. The first 2 were, of course, classics.
Yeah, and the first 2 was the continuation of the story. It wasn't like they were coming back and trying to make, you know, The Hangover 2, which is exactly like Hangover 1.
Right. Another good example. I thought first Hangover I thought was really funny.
Yeah. Second one was just the same movie over again.
You didn't like the first one? Yeah. The 1-2 down low. But you realize, Garen, you have disqualified yourself on any future conversations about films because the one film you saw all year was Bad Moms.
Well,
Bad Moms Christmas.
You know, I actually saw it on my flight down here. I don't have time to go to movies or watch movies, so the only movie that it was playing on my flight down here to Fort Myers. So
I got you. You're too busy.
Too busy
to go out and see, you know, quality films, but you know, everyone's got their own thing for entertainment.
I've been watching a lot of hockey in the wintertime. That's what I do.
I hear you.
Well, Mila Kunis films are worth watching many times.
Well, it's a big night in my household, and we have a family thing we do where everybody, wherever we are, my 3 kids are all over the country at this point. We get the nominees of all the nominees on the ballots, and like several hours before,
make your picks.
We make our picks, and a winner gets a special prize. Whoever wins comes out ahead with all of their predictions at the end of the night. And I mean, that includes best documentary, best foreign language short, all of that. You've got to pick every one of them.
Yeah. Got to do a little research.
And there's a lot of guessing.
And then and a good bottle of wine at the end for the gift.
3-2. And he's going to get him. He struck him out. Caught him looking. Took a long time for that second out to finally roll around. And Trumbo punches out. 2 away.
He's kind of froze Mancini with this, going to the outer half of the plate. That's nasty right there. That is a pitch where, as a hitter, you don't want to swing at it. You can't do much with it, but it's a called third if you don't.
Brings up Valencia, who's doubled and lined out to third. Orioles have jumped in front 7-6. And they've out hit Boston 9-8. Valencia, their DH today. He lays off 2-0. Adam Jones at second, and Trey Mancini on at first for the Orioles. Shepard's 2-0. I should say Gorst's 2-0, and the count goes to 3-0.
Well, the shift has become commonplace. We all know that over the last couple seasons in baseball. You see the Red Sox employing a shift on the left side of the infield. And I had a nice conversation with Mike Bordick, who's a television analyst and good middle infielder for a number of years here with the Orioles. He said so many infielders got to get used to playing different positions than they're used to. And Xander Bogaerts had that same conversation earlier in spring, where he says, I have to get used to being a second baseman at times, where if I'm shifted all the way over, I may have to take a throw from the third baseman, and I'm playing second base with my back to the play. I'm not used to doing that.
Sure.
For a shortstop, the play is always in front of you.
Skied into right. Mookie Betts converging on this one toward the line. And that side is finally retired, but the Orioles keep on scoring and now lead it 7-6 here in Sarasota. Is brought to you by Ace Ticket. It's more than a ticket. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-BUY-SEATS. 7-6 Baltimore, as we're about to bring you the fifth inning on a beautiful day here in Florida. And the Orioles will dip into their bullpen once again. The Red Sox will be Swihart, Vasquez, and Travis, the scheduled hitters. Swihart today began the day with a 2-run double in the first inning. He's also grounded out to first. James Teague gets the baseball here. So Blake now at 8 hits in 20 at bats and leading the club with 8 RBIs. And the 0-1 will miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Vasquez on deck. Another one tagged on the line. That'll drop down for a base hit. Boy, is his swing in great shape.
Ooh. Watch the replay as he just drops the bat head right down into the hitting zone and makes perfect contact with this, pulls it in right field. Watch how he just drops it right, drops the head right in there. Ah, that's pretty.
He's not racking up hits on squibbers. Everything.
Barreling up some stuff, isn't
Yeah, just about everything. Vasquez with a base hit first time up. He is 1 for 2 today. Both sides now with 9 hits. Lots of extra base hits today, particularly to right field. And the 0-1. He will not chase. So the vendor that you could hear in Georgia earlier today was selling beer. I think I've heard him a couple of times since, but I think they moved him away from our microphones, you know, down to the bleachers maybe.
Either that or he lost his voice.
He may have lost his voice.
Yeah, I think he just started off right in the center of the ballpark, letting everybody in the world knew that he was here, and then started moving around a little.
Yeah, and you can't miss that hat.
Well, we're still trying to figure out what that hat is.
I don't know what the hat is exactly, but there it is.
A big green balloon with ears on it.
Is that a green pepper maybe?
Play hard, drink well.
Yeah, who knows? And he's now down the left field line, out of microphone range.
Yeah.
I don't think he really needs one.
He's getting good play in New England.
I think he's sold a few today.
I would think.
It's been a very, very comfortable day here. Very comfortable weekend.
Beautiful Sunday afternoon to play baseball and have an adult beverage.
Certainly our thoughts are with all of you who were affected by the nor'easter. That nasty storm went crashing into New England and did considerable damage. Damage and loss of life, unfortunately. 2-2, pop foul back out of play.
Now, you've talked a lot about the numbers that Vasquez put up last year. Very nice, especially average wise. Got on base, 5 homers. What, he had 32 RBIs or something like that. And I think those numbers will improve. I think all those power numbers will go up.
See, I agree with that. I mean, I think he's got the ability to be a double-digit home run guy.
Absolutely.
At the big league level. He's a strong kid.
They're not cheapies when he does hit them.
Right. See, that's the thing. I mean, he's hit some absolute tape measure shots. Runner takes off, floated to center field, coming on Jones. He's going to go on to first base with the throw, and not in time to double up Swihart. So 1 man gone. Don't miss a game this season. You can import the NESN Red Sox calendar into your favorite desktop, web, or mobile calendar and get automatic alerts 15 minutes prior to each game. Alerts include matchup information, streaks, and a lot more. Visit NESN.com/schedule to import that schedule before the season opener on March 29th.
That looked like a little hit and run play, but how many catchers in the big leagues can get all the way down to second base on a floater like that to center field and then get all the way back before Jones throws you out? And to show you a little double box replay on that, you see Swihart on the move. He's all the way down to second base. Now Jones has got the ball and you got to hustle back. Many big league catchers get thrown out right there because you can't get back in time. Swihart, an excellent athlete.
Sam Travis 1 for 2 with a double. Got a piece. So Sam is locked in on his swing here in recent days in Florida.
Got a lot of messages from Hoosier Nation after mentioning that he went to Indiana. He and Kyle Schwarber, teammates there, both of them hammering balls. Indiana is not necessarily your hotbed for baseball.
Trumbo will step on the bag and get the out there at first base, safely down to second. Swihart with 2 gone. So the Red Sox have the tying run at second. Ivan DeJesus Jr. will be next.
Again, right there, Dave, that's a play right there where in many cases Trumbo would go to second first to get the out there and then get the relay to get the double play. But because of Swihart's speed, he stepped on the bag first and didn't have a chance to get Swihart at second base.
I'm telling you, it's one of the more intriguing aspects of Blake Swihart. He runs the bases, speed. You can put him in motion, as Alex Cora did. And he's not a base clogger.
Again, Swihart with big jump there. Trumbo decides, well, you know, I'm going to take the out here. No chance of getting him down at second base.
DeJesus with a single and a run scored in the second. 1 for 2 on the day. There goes Swihart. Here's the throw down to third. He's going to slide in safely with a theft at third base. Oh, he continues to have a really nice early spring.
He understands the situation he's in. Look at the jump, a little hop step, and then he goes. He understands that he's going to show off every one of his assets down here this spring to make it hard on anybody to make tough decisions on him.
And a 1-1.
We've said this a lot about a lot of different players, and Blake Swihart would love to be playing in Boston at the end of this month and opening the season with the Boston Red Sox. But he is also right now playing for 29 other teams out there that may have an interest in him. Oh, we got a new toy, so we'd love to show it to you. The old double box. You can see the whole field. You can see him. Steal home, Blake. I don't know if he's got that kind of speed.
The 2-2. And knocked the face mask right off Joseph. One thing we're watching with Ivan DeJesus is, and you mentioned this is not a young guy. He's been around a while. He's been in the plans of a couple of major league organizations, including the Dodgers, but he does not get cheated with his swing. He's aggressive. He's not waiting around for ball 4. Runner at third, 2 down on the 2-2. Down the right field line, slicing for the corner, and that is a foul ball. First base umpire Paul Emmel got a great look at it and ruled it foul immediately.
Tommy Goodwin's going to walk over there and say, "Are you sure?" Very, very close down that line. And again, the wind pushing this ball further away on the foul line. What do you think?
From here, I actually thought it was fair.
I kind of thought it was too.
But he did have a great look at it. He was right on that line, and he didn't hesitate.
Excellent umpire, Paul Emmel. Tommy Goodwin just went over there and said, come on, you sure?
Another 2-2 to DeJesus. All filled up now. Let's take another look.
Could be foul.
That
looks
looked
like it's
foul
on
there.
the other side of the line. Yep.
I think Paul got it right.
So the umpires take a lot of heat for a lot of different things. Now with replay, they try to get it right all the time. But boy, I'll tell you what, those guys are generally pretty darn good at what they do.
Cut on and missed, strike 3, and the Red Sox will strand the runner at third base. Still 7-6 Baltimore here in Sarasota.
Live the excitement.
The 2018 season, the Jim Beam Dugout Suite is the first and only field-level private space in Fenway. It's a brand new experience, puts you and your guests closer to the action than ever before. You can email premium sales at redsox.com or call 617-226-6912 to learn more about the Jim Beam Dugout Suite. The Red Sox making several changes here. And most namely, it'll be Bobby Pointer, kid from West Palm Beach who has impressed so far in this spring. 43 appearances, splitting time between A and AA last year, 149 earned run average.
Yeah, that's not a typo.
New third baseman replacing Rafael Devers. That is Alt. Selsky is now in left. Oscar Hernandez is the new catcher. Steve Selsky now in left. And the 0-2 up top.
Now, you and I have watched Pointer throw a few times now as he's been impressive. Still trying to figure out exactly how he does it. He's got decent movement on his pitch, but he doesn't throw that hard, and he seems to be pretty deceptive. Finds a way to hide the ball because guys don't get a good look at him.
Popped on the infield. Olt coming in front of the pitcher's mound. He had to make an adjustment there, but he hauls it in for the out. Zue Lin now in center field. Barfield, we showed you, is in right. Deb Marrero still at second. Sam Travis still at first base. And Caleb Joseph, the batter. And you are up to date. The Pointer's throwing the ball well. He showed you the minor league numbers, still a very young guy.
Does come right at you. Some kind of good deception, man.
A couple of key men for the Red Sox over in camp today facing the minor leaguers. Chris Sale faced 15 batters and he struck out 5. And JD Martinez was 3 for 3 and walked 3 times. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, 2 down as Pointer continues to throw it well.
He's got a nice breaking ball, good changeup, but you know, he loves to throw that fastball and he's not overpowering with it.
Well, he got an easy pop up and then fanned Caleb Joseph, facing a couple of big leaguers. Now getting another one here in Tim Beckham, who flies this to dead away center field. Racing back Lynn, turning around. It sails on out. So Beckham spoils the party for him as he knocks one to center field and gone to make it 8-6. All the runs they've scored today, that's their first home run.
Beckham wasn't waiting around. He's looking for that first pitch fastball to jump on, and he got it. Side swing for you. He knew it was out of here as soon as he hit it.
Boy, they do that a lot. 232 home runs last year for Baltimore. That is their stock and trade. And right in the middle of that is this guy, Jonathan Scope, who has singled twice today, 2 for 3. Red Sox led at one point in this game 6-0. This was a regular season game. That'd get a lot of people in New England very excited in the wrong way.
Of course, I don't think Alex Cora would have taken his starter out after 2.
True enough. And actually, the Red Sox were getting a decent start out of Jalen Beeks today. The left-hander, he went 2 1/3. That's why spring training records most of the time mean absolutely nothing. The looper popped out of play.
Well, here's Jalen Beeks, and the strikeouts that he had there, that was just a fastball looking at it. Climbed the ladder right there. Got him to chase. And we told you he had a good number of strikeouts, more strikeouts than innings pitched in the minor leagues.
1-2 popped up, and that'll drift foul out of play.
Yeah, I think where your record comes into play in spring training is just a frame of mind, get a good culture going if you're winning some games and having fun.
Yeah, getting to practice of shaking hands after the game on the field.
Dancing.
Not sharply hit, but Old handles that chance and gets him at first base to retire the side. But Beckham connects for a home run to center to make it 8-6 Baltimore.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Orioles 8, Red Sox 6 here in the top half of the 6th inning at Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota. Great to have you with us. Steve Lyons and Dave O'Brien alongside Garen Austin. Today's Red Sox spring training game brought to you in part by Ace Ticket, where Red Sox fans go for tickets. The best selection at the lowest prices. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS right now.
It hasn't been confirmed, but from what I understand, that this game is being brought to you from Ed Smith Stadium, which is the nicest spring training venue.
So they say.
In all of baseball spring training.
We've enjoyed our visit. Easy parking, should be easy in, easy out. And the lasagna at the press table was above average. Devin Marrero to lead off here. And Mountcastle. So Mountcastle at third base.
Lord Mountcastle.
Sedin has taken over at short for Machado. Ground ball to third. Mountcastle with a bobble, collects and guns high. And so Marrero will be safe at first.
That's the issue. They really like this guy. Big time prospect for him, but so far not a great defender wherever they've thrown him. They've had him at first base. They have him at third. And Sardinas.
Tejada at short. At second, I should say. Alvarez, the new first baseman.
Whoa.
Hernandez tags that one down the line. That's going to go all the way to the fence. Marrero into third, and he applies the brakes there. That'll put runners on second and third. Presley had to go chase it deep into the corner.
Come on, Lynn.
You're supposed to hit those kind. That's what we talked about before. You're going to get one good pitch in at bat. That ball's right down the middle, and Hernandez didn't miss it. Been sitting around all day waiting to play. Sits behind the plate for an inning, gets an at bat, and hammers one. Be a shorter bus ride home for him.
Sends up Zue Lin for the first time, hitting an Andrew Benintendi spot. Andrew crushed a 2-run homer today. Beautiful swing. I guess the headline would be if he doesn't have a beautiful swing. And he makes contact. It is a thing of beauty. He homered, and then Rafael Devers homered right behind him. In the second inning, they went back to back. Sox took a 6-0 lead. Now 8-6 Baltimore, but here come the Red Sox again. Second and third, nobody out. So back and forth we go in Sarasota. Lynn, good contact man. Here's the 1-1. And a strike.
Come on, Lynn.
Blake Swihart's had another good day. 2 for 3. 2-run double and a base hit. Devin Marrero had a double. Just reached on an error. 1-2 from the left-hander. Steve Selski on deck. And Aquino with a 2-2. Popped him up. First baseman Alvarez with a play. In fair ground for the catch, and the runner will hold at third. So 1 gone for Selski. Sox have 10 hits. Orioles have 10 hits. Opening day coming up on the 29th of March. A March opener. Against Tampa Bay. Red Sox will play 4 times against the Rays. And every game will be played. We can say that with absolute certainty. And the 2 that will follow in Miami, same thing. For the Red Sox head home finally to take on the Tampa Bay Rays on March 5th. Be an off day before and after.
Weird.
Before and after the home opener.
You ever seen a Friday night off day?
Right fielder coming on to make the catch. Here comes the run. Marrero trying to score. The throw is up the line. Hernandez held at second base. Selski gets in a run. That'll make it 8-7. So the Red Sox capitalize on the error, which began the inning.
And again, making sure you get that ball up in the air. Selski does a good job here. Get the ball to the outfield. At the very least, you get the sacrifice fly.
So Mike Holt will get in. His first at bat today. Two down and the tying run now at second base for the Sox. Mike born at New Haven, Connecticut. Still lives in Connecticut and Brantford. He's got major league experience, 135 games of big league experience with Texas, the Cubs, and the White Sox.
Used to be a Double-A minor league team of the Oakland Athletics, New Haven, Connecticut.
He was drafted out of UConn in 2010. And he is second all time on UConn's home run list behind George Springer. Very close, by the way. Springer was 46 with the Huskies, and this guy hit 44. And a shot that'll be handled. Aquino will flip on to get him to retire the side. Red Sox settle for the 1. It's 8-7 Baltimore. Next generation of New England's filmmakers. Saturday we take a look at student films. That's the next producer, presented in part by buyatoyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. And the Red Sox trailing by 1 as we take the last half of the 6th inning. And Fernando Rodriguez Jr., who pitched in a Red Sox system last year but has been with Oakland, Houston, and the Angels, will make an appearance here. He's now 33 years old, from El Paso, Texas.
Big kid, 6'3", 225.
Josh Ockamy will get his first at bat. Coming up in the next inning, he's taking over at first base for the Red Sox. De La Guerra now at short. Anthony Santander now doing the hitting for Baltimore, hitting in Machado's spot. Machado did some damage with a 2-run double and 2 walks. And Esteban Quiros now at second for the Red Sox. So every position has changed from the starting unit for Boston.
Nearly everybody on both teams.
Yeah. Quiros getting a lot of playing time so far this spring.
Well, I think Alex Cora knows how much you like saying his name, so he puts him out there all the time.
I do. It's got a very elegant ring to it. And a 2-2. Pulled toward right. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Barfield will come in on it. Santander coming off the bench. Got himself a single. That's on the bottom of the 6th inning. Gets underway for the Orioles. And now 11 hits for Baltimore.
You know, you are a man of many hidden talents.
And many of them are deeply hidden, aren't they?
Well, yeah, we don't get to hear them. We don't hear them enough or see. I'm going to. You talked about your favorite player and your movie picks. We all know that you do an excellent Vin Scully.
Well, thank you.
But off air, I heard you do another impersonation that was spot on.
Who is that?
As good as I've heard, at least a few words that you mumbled. Harry Carey.
Oh, Harry Carey, yeah.
No, you did Harry.
But doesn't everybody do Harry?
Yeah, but everyone does a bad Harry, like I do a bad Harry. Hi. It's a bad Harry. Yours sounded great.
You know, the guy who actually does Harry Carey, and it's not really an absolute impression, but it's drop dead hilarious, is Will Ferrell.
Yeah, because you're right. He doesn't necessarily have the voice, but he has the mannerisms and the humor behind it.
Yes, yes. It's great stuff. He hasn't done it in a long time on Saturday Night Live because, of course, he hasn't been on the show. But every once in a while, he'll come on and they'll have him do it. And it's fascinating.
where he goes, there's the pitch. There's the pitch. Sandberg hitting the head. Meanwhile, down on Rush Day.
Right. Oh, this would tag. Deep drive to right field. Barfield turns. He'll watch it go. It's out of here. Pedro Alvarez. At his age and his experience, however hopeful. And a 2-run shot. Boy, everything's going to right.
Yeah, the wind was blowing a lot harder than it is right now, but everything across to right field. You try to hit that thing in the left field is a little tougher, but it's sailing out of there. Got all that one.
So some breathing room now for Baltimore on top 10-7. It is carrying to right with that wind gusting there.
Well, with Lord Mountcastle up, I'd actually like to hear how Harry would butcher this name.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
How do you?
You're sitting next to a Steve.
How do you say Mountcastle? Line drive caught. Well, he can't hit. Clearly, that was a wasted pick.
What's he doing here anyway?
I see in the big league. I loved Harry, and Harry was a great guy to hang around with, obviously, after games. And if you got invited, like, down to his place, you're in Chicago, if you got down to Harry Carey's, the post games were amazing.
Yeah.
Just to watch him work as the mayor of Chicago. And just great fun to hang around. Oh, you talk about stories, and most of them were unprintable.
Yes.
And they were actual stories that happened to Harry. As you said, the mayor of Rush Street. Could be dangerous hanging with him. Sardinius the hitter here with the bases empty. Thanks to Alvarez's shot. I'm thinking about a couple of the things that Harry said on the,
I know.
said on the
My
air.
mind's wandering here.
No, don't go there.
My favorite was they had struck out a guy, and I think it was Jody Davis was the catcher, and Ron Say was playing third, and they struck out a guy, and so they were throwing it around the horn.
Yeah.
And Harry said, "Line shot at third, and Say puts it away." Steve had to say, no, Harry, they struck him out.
Right.
They were just throwing it around the horn.
Right. Oh. What a piece of work. You know, Harry, before he ever became the voice of the Cubs, many years before, he had been the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes.
But these were really in the days before, you know, television took over. So Harry made his name as a radio broadcaster.
KMOX.
KMOX, working, you know, with Jack Buck and other guys, other great talents. But I remember hearing some of the radio calls of Harry Carey well after, you know, he had gone to Chicago to become the Cubs guy. Back in the days he did the Cardinals, and he was phenomenal.
Back when he was good.
Oh my God, he was so good. In there for strike three. You know, painting the picture, and you know, so much emotion and involved in every out, like it was the 7th game of the World Series, and you know, telling stories, most of which were about Harry. Yeah. You know, and sometimes even asking the audience, "Hey, can you believe I don't have a contract?" This was reported today, by the way, in the St. Louis Dispatch. I don't have a contract for next. 3-2 foul back. You know, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I was like, I don't know. I think it was Will Ferrell who did it. He, basically, you know, I don't do the voice well, but it was like, you know, here's the pitch. Sandberg gets hit in the head. There's a melee on the field. By the way, down on Rush Street last night. You know,
Right.
Game meant nothing.
Right. Right. Oh, there's a triple play. Now, let me get back to that story. All very true.
I'll tell you, he was impressive. He was an impressive guy, because I remember when I got traded to the White Sox, and went to one of those winter dinners, like the Chicago Baseball Writers Dinner, and I was back there with a bunch of other players, and Harry came straight up to me and said hello, knew exactly who I was. And I was very impressed by that, because, you know, I'm a bit player. I'm a part-time guy on the other side of town, and, you know, he knew what was going on. He just didn't necessarily convey it all the time.
Well, legendary voice of the Chicago Cubs and St. Louis before that. You mentioned the White Sox. Also did a very short stint as the radio voice of the Oakland A's. In between all of that, when he was looking for another job, but you talk about a stop with it was one summer, I believe, with the A's. It might have been more than that, but I think it was only one. And it was on a tiny little radio station no one could hear.
Even if they turned it up?
Even it's like one of those that, you know, the signal went down to nothing after 5 o'clock.
5,000 watts?
When the sun set, yeah. And Harry was kind of stuck there, like in prison for a year at this little tiny radio station. And I believe, I want to say, his partner for that 1 year was John Miller.
Oh, is that right? I thought you were going to say Bill King.
John Miller, who eventually, you know, found his way to the Boston Red Sox, and then here to Baltimore to be the Orioles voice for so long, and then eventually San Francisco, and
the voice of Sunday Night Baseball.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN for so long. But I'm pretty sure they worked together. I may have that wrong, but I think they worked together in, of all places, Oakland. You know,
Yeah.
Harry winding up out there, but it was one of those bizarre pit stops in his career. 1-2.
I always really enjoyed John Miller. His sense of humor, his style, his knowledge, but he was also covering a lot of the playoff games when I was working for the Fox games, and we would do those manager meetings, and he would ask the dumbest questions. He would walk in there and say something like, "So Skip, you gonna hit and run in the second?" And people would be looking at him like, "What did you just say?" I mean, it was just didn't. I don't know if he didn't come out right or it was. At every one of the meetings, he would say something where you're just looking over at him like, "Are you seriously asking that?"
John, what a great voice. Tremendous radio broadcaster, still is. 2 down. Here comes the 3-2. And that'll be in there for strike 3. Side retired, but the Orioles tack on a couple more. They lead it 10-7.
Let's get some runs.
Top 7, a lot of runs today. 10-7. The Orioles, however, they have 12 hits. The Red Sox 10. Red Sox at one point led 6-0. Darren O'Day, the veteran side armor, will come out of their bullpen. And roped by Mars down the right field line. He was waiting on that. And he scalds it into the corner. Heading hard into second. Now he wants third as he takes the turn. The throw will not be made as he dives in with a 3-base hit. Danny Mars with a triple. Last year in the Eastern League, he was a postseason all-star.
You love it when a kid like that makes a trip up here, has to sit around all day, might not get into the game at all. Finally gets in there, gets up, takes a hack, and gets a triple. Makes the trip worth it, that's for sure. Little hesitation around third there, or around second base rather, and then rumbled on into third base.
Last year with Portland, he hit over 300, 304 in 119 games. Now Jeremy Barfield, who came into camp with some buzz because of all the home runs that he hit in the minor leagues, including at Portland.
Does have one here so far in camp.
O'Day last year used a lot, 64 appearances. And tough to hit.
Is that a fake mustache he's working with right there?
It's a new look.
Well, you know, Buck Showalter does kind of have a modified, lenient, no facial hair policy, doesn't he? He's got a little snidely whiplash going there, I think. Can curl up the corners, maybe.
You could do some things with that if you want to.
Could shave it off. That would be one thing.
You're bad. You're bad. I don't think it's that bad. Do you? Oh, come on.
It's like a caterpillar. I was just wondering because I thought, you know, that they did. If you look around, there's not many guys that have any kind of facial hair. I always thought Buck was kind of had that rule. Maybe a little more lenient with some guys than others. Maybe some of the superstar players. Maybe if you don't shave for 4 or 5 days, it's okay.
Oh, I think if you're going to try something, you try it for spring training, right? You know, a beard or the stash or whatever you're doing.
That way you can always say you're working on something.
Working on something. And if your spring doesn't go so well, you know, shave it off for opening day.
That would be superstitious.
3-2. Ran in. And he walked it. So Barfield is on.
It's a good at bat for Barfield right there. That's not the guy you really want to face when you come in and get your only at bat. Sidewinder from the right hand side.
Chet De La Guerra will bat now with runners at first and third for the Red Sox. Esteban Quiroz on deck. Nobody out. And through there for a strike. That's something O'Day will do a lot of, throw strikes. Very valuable guy out of their pen. Orioles last season finished well under 500, 75 and 87. They are predicted to finish near the bottom of the division, 4th or 5th place this year.
They scuffled at the end, didn't they? They didn't win any games.
What did they do? 4 and 23 down the stretch. A high fly to right. That's well hit. And again, bit of a jet stream to carry it. Santander keeps on going back. That's going to bring in a run. Mars will cross the plate. And that'll make it a 10-8 game.
Wind has changed directions a little bit, now blowing gently straight out. Was blowing across, now kind of blowing out more. Got that up there in the wind, got the run home.
Quiroz will be next with a man at first base and one away. Akami next. Down the middle for a strike. Zach Britton, their closer, one of the very best on the face of the earth, ruptured his right Achilles tendon in December while running sprints. He was being called a trade candidate. If they weren't going to hang on to him, they were going to get a lot for him.
How long is that going to be for him? Do they know?
They figured he was going to be out at least 6 months.
Ooh.
That's from the point of the injury, so they're thinking at the earliest the end of May for him.
Season could be over for them by then.
And the 0-2 to Quiroz.
It just struck me when the early in spring played against Tampa Bay and was listening to Kevin Cash in the dugout talking about the guys that they traded away and the situation on the team, and felt so fortunate to be involved in this organization when you're never talking about a team that's trying to break things down and start over or rebuild. You're always talking about a team that's trying to get better each and every year to compete to win a World Series.
Red Sox in 2018 will be bidding for a third consecutive division title. I think going into the playoffs last season, though, there wasn't a high degree of belief that the Red Sox were going to have a deep run compared to some of the other clubs that they were going to run into, most notably the Houston Astros. Seems like a whole different feeling this year as Quiros goes down hacking. And there are 2 down. Register for the 5th annual Watertown Police Finish Strong 5K road race and walk on Sunday, April 29. The race was initially established because of the events occurring in Watertown following the Boston Marathon bombings. Sign up at NESN.com/finishstrong. So Akemi batting for the first time in this one. He's taken over at first base for the Red Sox. Certainly a game moving at its own deliberate pace here this afternoon in Sarasota. Just the top half of the 7th. And the 0-1. Yeah, the Orioles had made the playoffs in 3 of the previous 5 years before last season. Now the question is, when are they going to be a contender again? Certainly a lot of offensive talent. Dylan Bundy would seem to be their ace if they have one, but not every staff has one.
You're right about that. They may have a number 1 because you're forced to have some guy start on opening day, but I actually believe there are very few aces out there. Handful.
Yeah, true number 1s. Or true aces. I mean, there's a difference between the two.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Is that everyone has a number 1. Very few people have an ace.
Yep. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and the side retired. It's a 10-8 game in the middle of the 7th.
Are you the type who buys a
Last of the 7th coming up here at Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota, about an hour 15 away from Fort Myers, depending on how fast Steve wants to drive. Enjoy the Fenway experience with your group in 2018. Red Sox group outings are the perfect way to entertain your clients, boost employee morale, and more. Visit redsox.com/groups for more information. 10 runs on a dozen hits here for the Orioles, 8 runs on 11 hits for the Red Sox. Marcus Walden will make an appearance now, the right-hander. Seen him a couple of times so far this spring. That's what he did with the Paw Sox last year, 10-6, 3.92 the ERA.
They weren't really sure what they wanted to do with Walden. He pitched not only out of the pen, but made some starts as well. I'll tell you, when Walden stands next to Thornburg, and they both have their baseball caps on, they're hard to tell apart.
It's great to see Thornburg throw so well the other day in camp. Red Sox hoping he will be a significant factor in the bullpen. He's got great stuff. Very live arm. Did not see him at all last year because of that unfortunate injury suffered in spring training.
Pretty much in back-to-back seasons, they brought a guy in here to be the 8th inning man, and both of them got injured. Carson Smith, then Thornburg. They're both back.
Carson obviously be ready for opening day. Thornburg did say the other day, don't rule me out. You know, no one's ruling him in yet, but don't rule him out as far as being part of that bullpen rotation at the time of the opener on the 29th of March. Alex Presley will lead things off here for the Orioles in the bottom of the 7th. 314 last year in 71 games, so he swung a good bat. Tejada on deck.
I know many times, especially when you come in as a non-roster invitee or it's your first camp, you don't really have a choice of what number they throw on your back. Would you be happy with 0?
I sure would.
Because it would represent that you at least had a number on your back?
Yeah. Well, those 98s and 99s, throw that on, you don't feel very hopeful.
My first spring training number was 63. Felt like a pulling guard.
Yeah, and you were a first-round pick.
All right, spring training has just drastically changed since the time that I played. I mean, I got drafted in 1981. I played in the big leagues from 85 to 93. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but man, the only time I was ever in Major League spring training camp was after they put me on the 40-man roster. You had no roster invitees, you know, former first-round picks, guys that you like in your organization. None of those guys played in spring training games.
Until you were on the 40-man.
And I was like, yeah, it gets worse.
3-1.
That first spring training camp, as Presley walks, Ralph Houck was the manager. I got 1 at-bat in the very first game we played, very first spring training game, 1 at-bat, played third base for 2 innings, and got sent back to the minor leagues at the end of that week. What is that? I was like, whoa, what happened there?
1 at-bat.
1 at-bat.
Would you say something to the manager that you offended him? I mean,
the next spring training, I did get a lot of playing time because Eddie Urak got hurt, and I ended up making the team. But there was none of this, you know, all these guys that get all this great major league exposure in spring training. That just never happened before.
Ruben Tejada, the batter, with a man at first base. As mentioned, Presley taking a walk. Last half of the 7th and a 2-run game.
We talk so much these days of guys going on rehab assignments down to the minor leagues. They'll make a few starts or they'll get some at bats. They'll get down. Never happened. In the 3.5 years that I was in the minor leagues, I saw one guy come down and make 1 rehab start at AAA, and that was Brian Denman. They didn't do it that way. Things really have changed.
1 pitch wrap to third base. Old will handle that to second 1, and the Red Sox turn to double play. 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Round the horn, 5-4-3. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket, where Red Sox fans go for tickets to all their favorite events. Sports, concerts, theater, and more. Ace has everything. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS right now.
Very nicely turned right there. Quick turn by Quiroz at second. Made it so that it wasn't even close at first. Third baseman will love to tell you it's nice to start a double play when the ball's hit to your left. You catch it, you're already running towards second base. You make an easy throw.
Mullins low power last year at the AA level, where he hit 13 home runs, and he'll take a ball low. It's changed in recent years. I want to say over more like the last 15, 20 years. But when you were playing, did you feel like once you got to AA, you were within reach of the big leagues?
No, that's the way it is now. But when I was coming up, in the 80s, in the low, 85 was my rookie year. So through the 80s, AAA was where the best players were. And they were the ones knocking on the door. And I'm not sure exactly when that did change, when finally all of a sudden your best prospects were in AA and your retreads were in AAA. Guys that might have a chance, the older players, guys on their way out of the game.
Definitely now that rung on the ladder is AA. When you reach AA, you are looking at possibly going to the big leagues, where they're looking at you as a potential big leaguer now. Not waiting till you get to AAA. It's been a couple of decades now. That's been true.
Kind of didn't really dawn on me that I could play in the big leagues until I got to AAA and started thinking, if one guy got hurt, they might think about throwing me up there. It's a nice realization when you think that you have the opportunity, you might be able to play in the big league someday.
One, two. Blew it right past him.
Nice.
Good giddy up on that fastball to retire the side.
He's looked good.
Like a sellout today, 8,171 to see the Sox and the Orioles at Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota. NESN and other networks may experience brief interruptions to their satellite transmission because of naturally occurring sun outages this weekend. We had one yesterday. These sun outages could occur for several days around this time of the year. Today, potentially between 4:15 and 4:23 p.m. If this naturally occurring phenomena interrupts our signal, stay with us as our signal will return in a few short minutes. And then you never know what we're going to be up to on the other side of that. Or how the sun outage may have changed everything. Brad Brock coming out of the bullpen. Interesting to see how Buck Showalter is using some of his veteran guys that he's going to have in his pen this year, Darren O'Day and now Brad Brock, in situations they might be used at in regular season.
All right. A lot of times down here in spring training, you don't see the closer pitch the ninth.
So late game scenarios here, and that'll bring up Oscar Hernandez. Last time up, he ripped a double down the left field line. Zue Lin on deck. 10-8 Baltimore. Red Sox led early in the game 6-0. Then the Orioles got 3 runs in the third, 4 in the fourth, a run in the fifth, 2 in the sixth. Red Sox have come back with solo runs in the sixth and seventh.
Ooh.
Hard hit that eats him up at third base. Well, Mountcastle having a difficult time over there since he entered the fray.
Yeah, well, that's the talk. Doesn't really have a glove down there. This is just going to eat him up too. There's the pitch thrown. Hernandez all over that. 2-hopper down to third base, but he caught the in-between hop, and now it's just like, oh, I hope I get it in my glove, and he didn't.
I think they may have ruled that a base hit.
That would be a bad call.
It will be a hit. Generous.
Very.
But it means Hernandez is 2 for 2.
It is.
And he has hit the ball very hard twice.
Last I checked, when you hit a ball to the third baseman and he doesn't catch it, that's an error.
Cross for a strike on Zue Lin, who's 0 for 1 with a pop to first. Crowd has thinned out a little bit as some of the fans are heading home to prepare for their Oscar ceremonies. Topped on the infield. Tejada goes for the tag. Got the out there. That was smoothly done as he turns a double play.
Well, Hernandez with both hands up on his helmet saying, what did I just do? He knows he made the mistake. You're not supposed to run into that out. Best thing he could do is stop. Right there, he knows he's in trouble. He knows he's going to be out. That just makes the play for Tejada that much easier. To make the tag and then make the throw. At the very least, you make him throw the guy out at first and then get you in a rundown. Probably going to be out anyway, but at least make it tougher on him.
Steve Selski in the 6th inning drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. Good smart hitting. Get the Red Sox a little bit closer. 10-8 the score. I'm telling you, look out for Shape of Water tonight. A lot of you folks are looking at different films. You're looking at, and they're very, very good films. They're all worthy. But I'm telling you, the major awards are going to go. I'm talking Best Picture, Director, maybe Supporting Actress. I mean, it's going to be a big night for The Shape of Water.
You realize you're not really out on a limb with that pick.
No, you're going by the numbers. You're going by 13 or whatever Oscar nominations. I get that. It's been nominated a lot. There are a lot of movies that get a lot of nominations and don't win anything.
Well, yes.
So what I'm telling you is put your money on this film. This is based on scientific research. It's not my opinion. Okay.
Is there a line in Vegas?
I bet there is. There's a line in Vegas on everything alive. Over and above the fact it was an excellent movie. So, speaking of The Shape of Water, at least for today. And a 1-2 to the third baseman. Mountcastle handling this one and got it there in plenty of time to retire the side. Middle of the 8th inning, 10-8 Baltimore.
Saturday, Who's Film?
NESN and other networks may experience brief interruptions to their satellite transmission due to naturally occurring sun outages this weekend. These sun outages could occur for several days around this time of year, and today potentially between 4:15 and 4:23. If this naturally occurring phenomenon interrupts our signal, please stay with us. Our signal will return, we promise, in a few short moments. A great day to be at the ballpark. Not a cloud in the sky today. Red Sox in town here in Sarasota. Tomorrow a day off for everybody. And then the schedule resumes on Tuesday in the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League in Arizona.
Ed Smith Stadium will be locked tomorrow.
We've been told it will be locked. Don't try to get in. Andrew Susac, the catcher, batting here. In the last half of the 8th.
It's kind of funny today when we showed up at the stadium. We kind of felt locked out today. We couldn't figure out how to get in this place.
Right.
Drove around it 3 times before we parked and then walked around it once to just get in.
But we got in no matter how hard they tried to keep us out, Steve. Folks here very, very nice, very helpful. Check swing. Did he offer? He didn't.
So you have Vin and you have Harry.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Oh yeah. This I don't, it's spring training. We're going to ease into some of these, but on days like today when we have really long ball games, I'll roll a couple out every once in a while. I do some that and they're not very good, but I do some that are really off the beaten path.
So you have to know the guy in order to know who you're doing.
Yeah, you have to have met the guy.
I'm thinking you're doing a really good Dave O'Brien.
Like the one I do of my neighbor Eddie is just staggeringly good, but you'd have to meet Eddie. Line shot, base hit into left. Susac on with
what time can he be here?
Oh, he's been here and he's left. Season ticket plans provide fans with the best seats, price, and benefits the Red Sox have to offer. Plans start at 10 games. They're available right now. For more information, you can go to redsox.com/season tickets or call 877-RED SOX 9 today.
Can you do our buddy Tom Caron?
No, I can't, and I would never attempt to do TC. I wouldn't do that because if I did it badly, I wouldn't want to offend him.
Everyone in the studio does a TC.
Do they?
No. Adam Pellerin does a pretty good TC.
Does he do it?
Yeah.
Good? Yeah. Oh, I got to get Adam to do that.
Adam's pretty good at it.
Adam's one of those guys who's got, he's got sneaky talents.
He does. He's got some hidden talents there. They're there.
He's got some stuff in there that, he doesn't roll it out all the time, but he's sneaky. You know who everybody does? Everybody alive does? Christopher Walken. Yeah. And some of them are pretty darn good. Matthew McConaughey does a great Christopher Walken.
All right.
And so does Matt Damon. Matt Damon does a great one. They've worked with him in film, so they just have it down. But everybody does Christopher Walken now. Hot shot. Akemi down to second one. Red Sox will turn another double play. The second one in as many innings, and 2 gone for Baltimore.
I'll watch Walden getting the work done with the ground ball, make it the easy play right there with Akemi. This is what we were talking about before when Trumbo could have done this earlier in the ball game, but he didn't. didn't turn the double play. They did it right. Walden's doing a nice job. He's been impressive, Walden, so far in spring as well.
He has. Throwing with some velocity, too. Here's Alvarez, who ripped the home run last time up. A 2-run shot. But the base is now empty for him. Orioles have 13 hits today. The Sox man on at first and 2 away.
Now, we talked about Mountcastle's problems with the glove, but he can swing it. One of their top prospects in the organization here.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of them in the last week. Sox facing the Orioles on a couple of occasions. We've seen a lot of their top prospects. Although today, more of their regulars than the Red Sox pitching staff would like. As Machado had a big day, Adam Jones did. And so did Manny Machado, among others. Here's the 1-1.
Marv Albert?
Yeah. One of
How can I say Marv Albert and you say yeah instead of saying yes?
No, we'll work in some Marv as we get closer to NBA playoff time.
Marv Albert, yeah.
That rolls behind Hernandez and no throw down to second. Marv's a Syracuse man.
Oh, of course.
Along with the great Bob Costas and Sean McDonough and Mike Tirico, among others.
The hotbed for announcers.
It is. Yeah, always has been.
Yes. Did a lot of games with Kenny Albert.
Kenny's a great fella. He just did a wonderful job on the Olympic hockey in Pyeongchang. Huge win for the U.S. women, winning the gold. Here's the 2-2. And he'll get him on strikes. Hernandez has to fire on to complete the K and got him to retire the side. We are going to the 9th inning.
The Nissan Rogue has everything I need to.
Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you by Ace Ticket. It's more than a ticket. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Steve Lyons and Dave O'Brien, Garen Austin alongside as well as we move on to the 9th inning, and the Orioles with a 10-8 lead. And another pitching change for the Orioles to bring on Tanner Scott. At Double-A last year, a good season, a 2.22 ERA, and hard to hit, a 188 batting average against. Here's Mike Olt, who was 0 for 1. He's grounded out. Well, certainly early in the game, it belonged to the Red Sox, and then later, the middle innings and on, all Baltimore. These two clubs will meet 19 times during the regular season.
Olt has himself in a good hitting position here. Air out a fastball if he gets it. Didn't like location. Good discipline. Don't like it. Don't swing at it.
And the 3-2, that one stroked into the alley. A gapper to the warning track, cut off by Mullins, and now into second base. Old with a double. So he leads off the 9th inning with a well-struck 2-bagger, and the Red Sox have a man in scoring position.
It's a 3-1 fastball middle in. He didn't like that one. He got this one middle away. A little bit more to his liking. Drives that ball into the opposite field gap, and here come the Sox.
As mentioned, NESN and other networks may experience brief interruptions because of the naturally occurring sun outages. Thank you for staying with us during a naturally occurring phenomenon. Sun outages, naturally occurring phenomena, and Daniel Mars in the box. Last time up, he tripled and scored a run. Mars, a young hitter. Again, he played at Double-A last year. Looks like he can handle the bat.
Yeah, hit over 300, right?
He did, 304. Top of the 9th, Red Sox trying to strike. And the lefty's 0-2. And that's in there for strike 3.
Wow.
One down.
No, Mars didn't like that one. Pretty tough call, third. Let's check it out. Yeah. He's not that small, is he?
He was saying no when it went into the mitt. He was a little shocked by Will Little's call. I think Mars was right.
Still trying to figure it out.
Here's Barfield now. One down, 9th inning. Hits even at 13.
This is the kind of guy that Barfield really needs to lunch up on. Left-hander. Get one out over the plate that you can handle and hammer it somewhere.
Good use of lunch up, by the way. It's the first spring training lunch up I've heard.
Well, that's because you refuse to say Swifty.
Until the regular season.
And I love Swifty.
I know you do. We all have our favorites, don't we? But remember, the season is a marathon, Steve.
It is.
A little twist foul and up and over the dugout out of play. Game was a sellout today. A lot of fans have headed for the exits, but over 8,000 here.
Yeah, almost 8,200 people. Good crowd. Good day.
Oh, yeah. I would say the best day of the spring so far.
We've been seeing mid-80s for most of the spring, and now over the last couple days, mid-70s. A little bit more comfortable.
Two and one on Barfield.
Well, Scott getting himself in trouble with pitch counts. It was 3-1. And the last hitter, he ended up on second base. Now he's 3-1 to Barfield. Good time to air it out. And he did.
Barfield was one of the guys people were talking about. Might have a chance to make the ball club with a big spring training. Does have one home run so far in the Grapefruit League. 3-2. And that's in there for strike 3.
Whoa.
The plate's opened up a little bit. Calling all kids. Kids can attend a game for free at Fenway when they sign up for Kid Nation and earn loyalty points for prizes like autographs and memorabilia. Free kids tickets are available for the first 25,000 tickets redeemed. You can visit redsox.com/KidNation to sign up right now.
Well, back-to-back strike three calls that neither one of the hitters liked all that much. Might have been away.
Chad De La Guerra now. Maybe the last man to swing today. 2 down. Red Sox down by 2.
Side view of that pitch. Barfield thought it was ball 4. He was headed to first base. Changed the complexion of this inning a little bit. Instead of first and second with 1 out, with a chance to tie this game or go ahead, now down to your last hitter.
And the 0-1 from the lefty. Popped up behind third. Mountcastle out. Shortstop Sardinas will make the play, and that will retire the side and end the ball game. So the final score here today, the Orioles 10 and the Red Sox 8. Sox now fall to 7-4 on the spring, and they're even with the Orioles, 1 game apiece so far in the Grapefruit League. Again, your final